I come from a privileged background. But you get exposed to reality when you get to university, because you get exposed to poverty for the first time, where your own colleague in the same classroom, someone sleeps in the toilet, but is your colleague. Some students eat in the dustbin. At university level, the problem was never Zuma. The problem was the system. Even if we can put you there now, you have to defend the system. The system is anti-black. They inherited a system that was never meant for us as black people. The ANC is scared to take a position and represent black people. The DA is not scared of taking a position that is pro-liberal and pro-white capital. Someone is making money. With the collapse of SAA, with the collapse of Denial, with the collapse of Eskom now, there are people who are making billions.
King David Studio Podcast.
I'm with Mcebo Dlamini today. The story says Swazi born. We'll get into all of that.
No, I'm good. Thanks for having us, my brother.
It's one of those interviews. Every time I've seen you everywhere on different platforms, I always said, I should get this guy one time. And I'm glad we made the call.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I truly appreciate it.
No, thanks a lot.
How do you make a living?
I think I would say I survive. I'm surviving because after the criminal record, there was that element that I felt like, maybe now I'm doomed. But once the main channel that I had always anticipated, I'm pursuing this legal career. Once there was that cloud around it, then that's when you realize that you can actually do a lot of things with the qualification and the skill that you have.
Yeah. Not just appear in court.
Yeah, not just to appear in court. So what I do now is that I write.
Okay.
And I teach. Sometimes part-time. And then you also do research. And then I'm also involved with quite a number of legal minds, where we work with Dali sometimes, give you those cases here and there, and then it keeps you going.
That's true.
Yeah, and I'm also pursuing my LLD.
The effect of the sentence on your career surely must have been profound, because it comes with the burden of exactly what you just mentioned now, the burden of having a criminal record.
Yeah, well, because you see, with when you pursue the legal career and stuff, there is always that element of fit and proper. So once you have that red flag, it has the potential of restraining you from being admitted as an advocate or as an attorney in the High Court. But we have never tested it, because we believe that the criminal records are not the same. The magnitude of it. This one was just for a just cause. In as much as it is a criminal record, but we were fighting a just cause. It's not murder. It's not theft. It's not all those type of things. It's just a public disorder and all those type of things, which came, so it can be argued. So, but then we decided to say, no, we looked at it, can we expunge it? Apply for the expungement. But we then also felt like the same people that you must apply to is the ones who gave you the criminal record.
True.
Because we wrote to the NPA to request that they take out the matter out of the criminal justice system, create an ad hoc, a system that deals with all fees must fall cases, so that we are not have these criminal records. Because we were looking at the high unemployment of young people. So we are saying already you are adding statistics once you give us the criminal record. We even said that we are prepared to even do community service. We were not running away from
serving your sentence.
To say, hey, we've done wrong. If we are found wrong, we were prepared to take responsibility and suffer the consequences. No, we made about 12 representations to the NPA, both national and provincial. They will just respond with one sentence, no, or
Whoa.
declined. Then we understood that we are fighting. We wrote to the president. I walked from Vets to Pretoria.
I remember.
It bear no fruits. We wrote to the minister, and a young person who had promised that that when he gets to parliament, because they use the fees must fall ticket to go to parliament, that when they get there, they will deal with all the fees must fall cases. When Lamola went there, we wrote to him as a young person and who understands the struggle, because he was also a victim of the system under the Zuma administration. He then started telling us about protocol. Then that's when I realized that we are on our own. And then we said we are not going to be applying for any expungement. We will survive with it.
Yo. But others would say you want special treatment. Let's assume the expungement pursuit is still on for a second, just as a part of this discussion. One would say, but you want special treatment. It was a violent act. And whether you look at it from a perspective of whether it's just or not, it was still a violent act. And why do you want to be treated as special?
Well, I wouldn't say, and there's nothing wrong with being treated special.
Okay.
Fees Must Fall was a special moment. There's nothing like it. There's never been like it within our generation. And what we were fighting for, government went out and accepted that it's a just cause. It is them who said the cause was noble. Because even today, when they are campaigning, they campaign for the things that Fees Must Fall fought for. So we were special. They had to give us special treatment. We were not criminals. We were not rebels. But there's also this thing that of labeling, that everything that when young people raise their voice, they are labeled as hooligans. That's the biggest cancer that then deals with activism. That's what kills activism. Then you have now these young people who must conform because they are scared of being labeled. We are a rebel, we are a rascal. You are all of those type of things.
There was a time when they were called Lost Generation.
And we dealt with that.
Yeah.
They were calling us the Mandela children, born freeze, the lost generations, because they felt like we have no cause. So once we started saying, yeah, you promised us free education. You promised us this and that. And by the way, our parents, when they picked up arms and went to exile, like you are saying that there's somewhere where it keeps on saying Swaziland. Yes, we were born there, but how were we born there? It's because our parents picked up arms and went to a foreign land. And when they got there, we were born. So we will always follow the blood.
That's
when
true.
the blood says you are South African, that's why we are here.
Let's. I want us to discuss the Fees Must Fall and how it started. You were there. You were a member of the SRC at the time. Take us to those conversations amongst the students before anything came out to the public. What was happening?
Well, what Fees Must Fall when it initially erupted. It was the last straw, but it was building up.
Okay.
There was a lot of things that have been happening that were breeding the anger and the frustration.
Got you.
I would say I come from a privileged background. I can't come here and lie. I come from a privileged background. But you get exposed to reality when you get to university. Because you get exposed to poverty for the first time, where your own colleague in the same classroom, someone sleeps in the toilet, but is your colleague. Some students eat in the dustbin at university level.
At Vets?
Yes, at Vets.
Yes.
It's a reality. It's a fact.
Yo.
Now, this person, you are in the same classroom. You write the same test, same exam. But we are not at the same level in terms of financial and economic emancipation.
Which affects how they prepare for the same exam.
It affects their mental state.
Yeah.
And their confidence walking on campus. Because here you are no longer wearing uniform. You are wearing, you know what I mean? So it's those things, the exposure, once we go to university, you get to see the reality.
Yeah.
of black pain. That's when Fees Must Fall started, because we started demanding a better life for all vet students.
Got you.
To say vets at the end will pride themselves with these people. Vets for life. They didn't care about your life at vets, because you apply. You have this beautiful picture of this prestigious university. You are there in Lebua Homo or Tabanchu. You see this prestigious university. They accept you. You've never been to Johannesburg in your life.
Yeah.
You don't know how Johannesburg looks like. You take a taxi or a bus that drops you there to Wanderers. As you are walking to vets, asking people where vets is, you get marked. While you are walking up from Bram, you get marked. When you get there, the trunk box that your uncle had given you, and the dumpling that they had prepared you, and the mlekwa chicken from Eastern Cape, you came in.
You know
get
well.
to vets, you have nothing.
Yeah.
You don't have a place to sleep, because the children don't apply for a place to sleep. The school where they come from, I think they apply for them in bulk.
Okay.
In volume, they just apply for them. They don't apply for NSFAS. They don't apply for a place to sleep. You just get accepted. You go there. When you come to the SRC, it's already 4 or 5. You don't have a place to sleep. You have to sleep in the passages. We were witnessing all of these things. Now, it's time for registration. You didn't apply for NSFAS. VET says, I want 9,780
cash
upfront.
Yeah.
For just registration, not for accommodation, not for food. I've seen people going back home. You know, when they say education is key to success, you will have a young person who's been experiencing all sorts of difficulties. You have to walk 10 kilometers to and from school. You go home, there's no food. Some are looking after Cadre. There's a lot of these challenges, but you just hold your breath and say, if only I can get to matric and pass, then my life will change. And the reality is that it does change. Once you go there, it changes. Now, after taking all this pain and suffering, some have drunken uncles, some come from broken families. They've been abused, but they had shut down.
Yeah.
If I can only pass matric.
It's almost like a finish
leave.
line.
Yes, then I leave.
Yes.
You know, I will leave.
Yeah.
Then you get there.
Yeah.
You've taken everything and you get there. Then vet says, you can't.
9,000.
You have to go back. You commit suicide.
Sure.
You are doomed. It's not all of them who can take it. Some will take it. They can go and work at Pick and Pay and keep on trying. Some, they're finished. So after experiencing those things, we became different people. Our thinking and how we see our privileges. We began to use our privilege to touch lives. Like we began to use our influence and voices to speak for the voiceless. That's why we kept on saying, Fees Must Fall is not for us. I was already doing a 3rd degree at the time.
Wow.
At VETS.
Yeah.
So participating in it was threatening the other careers that I'd already built. And that's the reality that we don't speak about, because it was not about us. We said we are speaking for the poor, those who are in the township, those who must come here, those who deserve to come here. We were breaking those boundaries for them, that you must only think about passing. Where the university money will come from, that is immaterial. Once you pass and they accept you, you must be sorted. Yeah. That's what we were fighting for. But what we then did, we started building. There was a build up to this thing. You know, remember there was the 1 month, 1 million 1 month campaign in January, where we were raising money to register students who were already financially excluded by the university, by Habib. You see? And we had protested, and the protests were not bearing any fruits. We then said, chaps, because these students are not here, we don't have numbers. We have to register these people. They must be in the system. So once they are in the system and they're trying to kick them out, they will fight for themselves.
Of course.
You see?
But the trick is to get them in.
Yeah, because it was 3,888.
Oh.
Those were massive numbers.
You don't want to lose.
You shut down a campus with those people. And we raised that money within a week. We had 1 million.
Oh.
And then within a month, we had 6.5 million.
Where was most of the money coming from?
From the VETS alumni.
Okay.
Professor Pakeng, who was at the time, he was the convocation president. We approached him. We said, we need the data of all the people who studied here. We need the data of everyone who studied here.
Yeah.
Then they unleashed it.
Whoa.
We emailed everyone. Everyone received the email and they responded kindly. And and corporate, they came like Nestle, Investec, and they showed up.
Yeah.
After, not during the resources, but after, because now you have registered the students. Where are they going to stay?
Ish.
What are they going to eat?
And it almost falls on your shoulders as well.
Yeah, no, that's what Habib and the media were saying.
Yes.
Yeah, once they register them, what are they going to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Then we responded by going to residencies which were eating in dining hall and say, you have 3 meals, surrender 1 meal. And students responded promptly. They were giving those free meals.
What?
Then we say, you are not going to sleep in an empty stomach, would rather have 1 meal. And then we had Nestle then took over the initiative and started giving us food packages, like where you will get a food package. They gave us, I think it's 6 million, the entire project for a year. So you have a package. Every Monday you get a package that you can go and cook. It was in there. Then you had Angus, the residencies. You had South Point, who they gave away about 2,000 beds. We say, when these people were still on NNSFAS, they were your clients. Now it's your turn to return the favor, And they responded well. And we had a good dean of student affairs at the time, Pamela Dube. He also used her influence to speak to their colleagues to say, chaps, you have to come here. The university is in tatters. And then she opened the doors, because even today as we speak, the food parcels are still happening at vets as we speak.
What? The same deal.
Because the dean then took the initiative from us. Because we now had toiletries. Students were donating toiletries. The privileged residences where I was staying. Vets Junction is the elite. So they were giving the things. Now we had toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, what. And then sanitary towels. But some of the students can come to us because maybe ngiyakshela man. Now sekufuna uzolanda ama-pads la. Yeah, no, someone won't come because of, ego, pride.
Yeah, true.
And also,
You get that.
So then we said, we were at the meeting with Pamela. We said, we then created an office. Literally, people were employed under the dean's office where these things will be stocked, where you can just go fetch from non-students. So so then the donors came. It's still there. They get toiletries till today. They get food packages till today. Then Gift of the Givers came also to give the 1 meal that we were taken
from the other students.
Till today during lunch. If you go to vets, there's a long line. The last time I checked, when we left in 2018, there were about 3,000 students who were eating the 1 meal of Gift of the Givers. That must tell you how dire the system was, the situation. We had to fight to bring what I'm talking about to you. We had a situation where the university was demolishing a res for parking. That's how Fees Must Fall then started.
Was that demolished?
After we had left.
Okay.
Because they were demolishing a PKV2 in Parktown for a parking for business school. And that res had just been renovated. And it was housing 2,000 people. You demolish it for parking. Then we went crazy. Then Adam was increasing dining hall food by 10.5. Res by 12.5.
Are these
tuition,
percentages?
Percent.
Yeah.
Tuition by 13.5. We said our parents have never got a 2-digit increase. Vets as it is expensive as it is. If you increase this thing, you are saying next year none of us will be here. We were already fighting for people who have already financially excluded. So you are saying the number that you had initially excluded in January is small.
Yeah.
So then the protest started around September 2015. It was those things. It was the increase. It was Habib demolishing a res for parking. But when the protest, when we were given the platform, the issues we were raising, someone who was in TEFLOP could relate. The lack of residencies, the high
UCT
tuition,
and
the hunger,
yes.
and all of those things.
Yeah.
And we started speaking about issues that affect students at higher education, and also the access that we felt that there's a new apartheid, which is now the fees. Back then, it was color of your skin, but now it's the exorbitant fees. But again, now remember again now that poverty in South Africa is color, and it is black. Then it was perpetuating the apartheid, and we had to fight.
How did the government react to all of this? Because it seemed like it was unexpected, like most protests. We were having a relatively quiet time, minding our business, complaining about the Guptas. It was during that time.
Yeah, of course.
We were talking ANN 7.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about at the time. And then suddenly there was this, what seemed like something that would last for a few days.
Yeah.
It vets.
It dragged.
What was the reaction? How did government react to it? It didn't seem like they were particularly welcoming of this protest.
At first, they ignored it.
Okay.
They thought it's going to subside.
Yeah.
And they ignored it. And then they realized that, no, this thing is serious. Then they started to try and, because they were shifting the responsibility to the universities to say, deal with it. When it went out of vets, it stopped being a vets problem.
Yeah.
It became a national problem. And they were caught off guard because Blade was extremely arrogant at the time. I've never seen a person as arrogant as Blade. That's why even today, that department is still facing problems. NSFAS problems, these problems, because he is not fit to be a minister of anything. Even worse, to be a minister of a critical portfolio that produces the future of the country, the brains, the intellect. The guy is lost. Maybe they should have made him a minister of culture. I don't know where he can fit, or just go home. Because that's the call we made to Zuma. Remove the fellow. He's responsible for the issues that we are dealing with. These are the people who are destroying university residences so that the private accommodation can strive, because the private accommodation is their friends. When a child comes from the poor background, you can't afford the private accommodation. If I apply to go to Harvard today in England, Harvard will provide accommodation. I'm coming from South Africa, I don't even know what alternative accommodation is there. But why then do we want to separate teaching and learning here? As if the learning will happen in the sky. Because it must happen in the classroom. And teaching and learning and accommodation goes hand in hand. Accommodation and teaching and learning, it's one thing. Because those are the issues we're fighting. I can't be sleeping in the toilet and be expected to perform at the top level. I can't be going on to classroom on an empty stomach and expected to perform. You then have people like Mbalula recently who are saying a lot of students are failing. These people who are protesting are the students who are failing perpetual. Why are they failing?
You should ask that question.
Yes, why are they failing? Because to enter vets, you need serious marks. Vets only takes the creme de la creme. They take the best. In fact, they even scout the best. They scout you. They bring you here. Once you are here, you are on your own. You don't have a place to sleep. You don't have food. Then you fail. You have people who are doing actuarial science who fail and get academically excluded.
And under the right conditions, they would do well.
They wouldn't.
Because
the conditions must be conducive. So then once they have failed to use all the avenues, then government became brutal. They used the apartheid system to brutalize, to beat, torture, send spies, try to divide you as leaders, fund pump in a lot of money.
Yo.
So it was chaotic, man. You know, we felt like we were in 1976, I'm telling you. Because all the things we were reading about were happening. All of it.
The things you had read about.
Yeah, it were happening.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw ourselves as Pico and stuff. You know, we were like, hey, Baba, hey, I remember we were exhausted. And like we felt like, hey, Mona, the system in what. Then Vianney says, Endot, we're making history.
Yeah.
You can't back down now.
So there was a time when it felt like it was.
Yeah, we were. It was too much. Because none of us knew when it's going to end, and none of us anticipated the reaction. You know, and there was no manual to lead. So there were challenges, new challenges every day. So, and we had no one to consult or someone to tap our bags. Some of us were coming from the ANC structures, and the PYA.
Yes, and there were others from...
So we had attacks
EFF.
from our own mother body, you know. And luckily for the EFF ones, Julius were telling them to, you know,
keep
soldier
going.
Or keep going.
Yeah.
Us were coming from the ANC, the motherboard. Yeah. I mean, the PYA. We're under attack.
But
you have no home anymore.
Yo.
So you have no home because you are already an outcast. Then they said this thing, it's like we are fighting the ANC itself. We said, no, we want free education that was promised. And the ANC missed an opportunity through Fees Must Fall because they should have embraced it because it was assisting them to remove the deeply entrenched, you know, apartheid agreements that they had made. We were assisting them. But no, they were like, hey, they dealt with us.
What was the problem, though? Because you had a Zuma leadership at the time.
Yeah.
What was the problem with just giving you what you were asking for? Because what you were asking for was just.
It's a system.
Yeah.
The ANC never tampered with the system. The problem was never Zuma. The problem was the system. Even if we can put you there now, you have to defend the system. The system is anti-black. They inherited a system that was never meant for us as black people.
Describe the system. Let's do our best, you and I here, to decode the system for everyone to understand.
Of course.
And we can even use an example for that to say, here's a scenario where it's an anti-black. Already the Fees Must Fall is a perfect example. However, let's look for another example where the system, I become president. You become president tomorrow. You inherit the system.
Of course.
What does that system look like in reality?
Now, here is an apartheid system. A system that was all out to suppress, oppress, segregate, and produce a black that conforms, that is not inquisitive, a black that will be inferior to a white man. That's the system. Now, how does then the system go on about that? A black man was not allowed to study maths and science for a longest of time. A black man was not allowed in the white spaces like UCT, vets. You needed permission to be there. You have to be vetted. You will be 2 or 4 blacks that will be there. When you go to vets today, and you look at their lecture halls, those lecture halls can only take 30 people. The lecture hall, 30.
Yeah. Already that tells you.
Now, vets has how many people who must go there. That's why when you go there now, you have people sitting on the floor. Because vets was never meant for these large numbers. Where are these large numbers coming from now? It's black people. So it was never meant for us. That's what we are talking about, that they inherited a system that was anti-black. The system that wanted black people to be laborers. A system that wanted black people to serve the white masters. Now, when you give black people education, you are now saying they will be the masters themselves. Then the system will react. The system that made black people to be inferior to a white man now says that once we go to vets together, we study medicine, me and you, we are white and black, we are equals. We are doctors.
That's what it
says.
We
know aorta together. We know double circulation together. So I can't be inferior to you. I know what you know. You might don't know what I know because you don't know poverty. So it makes us better than them. So the system had to then close and control the competition for the white kids against the blacks, because the blacks are a majority. We will be now competing for the same space at Deloitte, at Price Water, and all of those things. So how do you do that? You maintain the numbers that access the education.
Okay.
Let me also give you an example.
Yeah.
At Vets Law School, there's a head of school that was fired for graduating 400 people.
Yeah. But isn't that a positive outcome?
The market reacted to say you are devaluing the vets degree. A vets LLB must be scarce.
And
that's what we were told.
Must be exclusive.
Yes, it must be scarce. No one with a vets LLB must be loitering and speaking about Latin in the tavern. We are busy there speaking legal jargon in the tavern. Because we are men, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we are men. So he was fired. I'm telling you the truth.
What?
They will agree, those who were part of that group.
Yeah.
He graduated more. They want 190 per year so that they can go to the top 5 big law firms. Because once they don't make it to the top big firms, where do they go?
Yeah.
It's a vet's degree that is now loitering. They control that. They still control that. The big market control the institutions. They determine the curriculum. That's what we were talking about when we make this noise. They tell you of the monopoly of these institutions, that they own this monopoly. You can't interfere. Government, how can you be a government that doesn't know what vets teaches? You know, because you have to control what is being taught, the content, the everything. So those are the issues. So when we say the system, that's what we are talking about, that they inherited a system that was anti-black, a system that was never meant for us. Now, they had to defend the system.
Is it, and I ask what may seem like a dumb question, is the system still in place?
Of course. Apartheid still exists.
Describe it in today's reality.
Yeah.
In a scenario where you are a vet student today.
Yeah.
I get it. When you were describing it earlier, you were talking about the challenges of getting in.
Yes.
Now you're in.
Yes.
You are a doctor. Yes. You know what the white guy knows. You are equal.
Yeah.
Apply the system now.
Now, you are equal, but who owns the means of production? Where are you going to be employed? Who's going to employ you?
Yeah.
Your children. Now I'm doing pupillage. Let's say I become an advocate.
Yeah.
Or if I become a lawyer and I own a law firm. Now my children who study law are already starting to work for me. A lot of the kids that you go to school with, their parents, they study something that their parents own. They already, if their parents is in auditing, they're already studying accounting science to go work for their parents. If they are doing LLB, their parents are the CEOs of Bowmans, ENS, Wexman, and everywhere. So the competition is unfair. Also the networking. Their parents play golf. Their parents play golf with the owners of Netcare. You, with your medical degree, you will go to the hospitals where you will look like you are a hobo when you are there. There's not even the facilities to grow. There's not even penicillin. You are just a doctor by name, you know. So the ground is not level. Also, inside the institution itself, the racism is still there. But vets, because it's a liberal institution, unlike the apartheid Afrikaans institutions where black students are still beaten, like Free State, where people were being peed on, where they were made to drink in the toilet, and at Stellenbosch, the pee. You see, where it means the apartheid is still rife and present. At vet is institutionalized. You can only feel it, you won't see it. There is a kid, there is a story at vets where the black kid with a white surname, you know, Xhosa kids have like a white surname. Yeah, you can be Zukiswa White or what you know, those names like so, or Ngumisa Breakfast.
Yes.
You know, those white. So this kid was hitting A's.
Yeah.
And you look at the name, maybe when they look at the student number and then it gives you the name, it's like, oh, okay. And then this white professor now in class calls, who's this kid who's excelling?
He's expecting a white person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the white boy stood up.
A black
A
boy.
black boy
Yeah.
stood up. He says, oh, you are black. He says, yes. So your surname then says, no, I'm from Eastern Cape and stuff like that. From that day, the marks went down.
Oh, no.
It's a true story. And others will relate to it. They will even give a name of the person. It's institutionalized, the racism. You go there, you find white kids. They have access to the paper.
Yeah.
And we don't have it. It happened during our time where a white kid got the exam paper and thought he was sending it to a group of his people, the tribes, whiteness. And it went to the entire class group. And he says, you must not show this to your black friends.
Oh, that was the message.
Yeah, to the group.
Yeah.
You guys must not then take this to your black friend. The vets had to cancel that paper because we made noise about it. Because why? It has went out. We also had an incident where a black professor, Seme, Mpumelelo Seme, was teaching law of property. She failed half of the class. We are used to failing. But now the noise was that white people failed. She was even taken to the minister. It's a true story. He was taken to the minister, was taken to the board of higher education, was reported to Habib. The story was on 702. The issue was not failure. The issue was white people failed. The CEOs of the big law firms who had their children there came to the head of school. How can this happen? Because failure is for blacks. That woman stood her ground.
Did she win her defense?
We defended her, even though we had failed.
Yeah.
Even though we had failed. I remember there was a huge meeting.
Yeah.
Where all the LLB people were called. I stood up and I defended her alone for an hour, speaking alone.
Jeez.
And after that, the meeting ended. Because we had other subjects with high failures like love contract. No one had made a complaint about it. Love contract can fail 80% of the class.
Why was it different in terms of the complaints versus the other complaints?
It's white people who teach contract advance.
Okay.
She was a black woman teaching law of property, a black woman. And there were two people who were teaching law of property. It's her and Dugat. Jackie is white. The attacks were on the black woman, not on the lecturers of law of property. And more
on the students for not performing. Because that's also another debate. Why didn't you do your work?
No property chows. No property chows. No that subject chows.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of elements. There's contract in it. There's constitution in it. There's a lot of it. So like if your mind is channeled, you'll fail. It wants you to think out of the box.
To open your mind.
Because sometimes it will tell you what the judgment said. And it says, what do you think?
So you have to widen your mind.
You have to widen your mind. And they were failing this whiteness. Because they are used to this thing, So we defended. So I'm saying that's the institutional racism.
Let's go straight to this question. Do you think the Fees Must Fall movement as a whole was a success?
Yes. It was a success in many forms. Now, but remember that Fees Must Fall was an umbrella.
Okay.
There were a lot of things under it.
True.
Firstly, it was the free education, which was access to quality education. And we also wanted the curriculum to be changed because it matters what we learn. Because we felt like, what is being taught doesn't assist us, only that it creates sophisticated hobos.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us that I can live and go and be my own employer. So we wanted the curriculum to be decolonized. Now, we also wanted more black academics We felt like we need more black professors here because when I come in first year, I'm being taught by a white man until PhD. By the time you graduate, you start thinking like them. You start saying your people. Because the lecturers, when they speak, they say your people, your president. That was what's happening when I was doing BA in politics. They would say your president, meaning Zuma. It means it's not theirs. But when you come out there, you are already anti-government. It's the system, it's the curriculum. It produces such blacks. It produces that type of blacks. So we then wanted it, say, give us more black academics, because if there is a white black woman who's teaching maths, who's teaching statistics, who's teaching mathematical stats, a white woman who's teaching physics, he's giving confidence to other young blacks because they see themselves in that particular person.
That's why
that's what we said we wanted. So more and more institutions started creating funds to say, after masters, you can pursue a PhD. Because remember, most black people come from poor backgrounds. You just want to graduate and leave. There's pressure at home. Makoko walamba. You know, and all those type of things. So you can't be remaining in the system of vets for long, up until they've stipend remunerations that you can survive. So it was creating those type of things. Yes, UCT, VET started, UP, they did it. So that's why now you have more and more black academics, and they're growing young women, black young men and stuff like that. And also, we wanted residences.
Okay.
We wanted not this thing of going to stay outside where there are no protection, no safety, nothing, where even NSFAS doesn't even pay. We wanted universities to own residences because they become cheap, because they are owned by the university. The university is not meant to make profit. It's not there to make profit, but to make the learning and teaching to be conducive. We also wanted insourcing.
Okay, of staff.
Of staff, of the security guards, of the cleaners. We wanted them insourced. And yes, they were insourced because most of them were our parents. We also wanted free education for them. Not even their children, but them. Look at the number of security guards which have been graduating from Free State, VETS, UCT, UJ. Cleaners are graduating. Because then the university created a parallel a system strictly for them. For the cleaners, those who have matric. But then once you finish the diploma, which was 3 years, right, you can then apply to the VETS degree.
Okay.
Most of them have LLBs.
Amazing.
It's the system.
So that's the success.
It is the success. But for me, the biggest success was the consciousness. The mind of young people. We brought activism, the black consciousness language, the Pan-Africanism. Young people became to be radical, question, take on these people. We took away the fear. When we made Habib to sit on the floor, we taught young people that we can take these people on, not to be scared of them. We can respect them, but we must be able to articulate on issues that affect us. So it is the level of consciousness after fees must fall. The level of consciousness, some they call it wokeness, went up. So those were the successes. And also the issue of language barrier, especially with the Stellenbosch, University of Pretoria,
Afrikaans.
and Northwest University and Free State. We dealt with the language policy. We took it out because we'll have 2 streams, same subject. Another
Afrikaans
one is taught
version
in English. And those in Afrikaans are in a better position because it's their home language. When I speak Swati. When I read the question in English, I have to read it in English, then process it in Swati, then answer it in Swati, then take it back to English.
There's no time.
Time up. Not that you failed because you didn't know. I was still processing.
You were translating.
They're always So there are always certain advantage. But the most painful thing now is that the gains are being reversed. The gains were there, but they are being reversed.
Give an example of any one of these gains.
In 20 2018.
That's when you were completing your degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
After Zuma had announced free education in
Yeah.
Parliament. And it was there.
Technically,
I will argue that it was there because in 2018, there were no protests. All students were admitted at university, entered without a squabble. 2019, same thing. But after the elections, once Blade Nzimanze returned as Minister of Education, because there was Naledi that replaced Blade.
Yes, Naledi Pando.
Blade came back, Cyril brought him back after 2019 elections. He's been reversing everything and attacking the Zuma administration.
Give me an example of this reversal. Is it fewer students being admitted?
Now NSFAS is no longer. It's no longer. I wouldn't say now it's a scholarship. It's now a bursary, and some don't even get it. That's why now you have a lot of protests every January because people still don't have funding. At that time, there was no longer a question of whether we'll have funding or not. 2018 and 2019, you just accepted that vets, yes, education, yes, hack.
And
that's what we had fought for. Now, not anymore. They don't have the funding. And the universities keep increasing the fees now, and when we had fought and said no fee increase because we can afford, the AfriForum took the universities to court with the issue of Africans not being offered as a teaching language there.
Yeah.
Then the court reversed that and say Africans must be brought back. So it's been reversed. So a lot of these things that we fought for are being reversed. And also the activism has dried out in this institution because the leaders were brutally dealt with to scare these young people, to say if you protest, you see Mcebo, be like him. So that's why every day we keep a bold face because we know that we are made an example. Yeah. There's no room for failure because of a lot of young people are looking up to us and the system is using us as an example. So if you fail, if you protest, you will be on the streets and be a hobo like that one. You'll be unemployable. So we've been fighting to make sure that we are successful under any circumstances so that we are a good example.
With this reversal, one speaks of a government that's still the same. And this is a party that you subscribe to. That's the ANC. It's still there. Yeah. We imagine your access is not terribly far. And it was probably closer even in the past where you had access to these leaders. But then what is the challenge? What are we dealing with here? Now this conversation changes slightly to speak about the current leadership of the ANC, the very leadership that you're saying is reversing, or they are letting the reversal happen in their watch. What is the problem?
The ANC is captured.
Okay.
By the system.
Eish.
A system that they went to exile to fight against. And the system has managed to turn them into neo-colonialists and neoliberals and people who are now anti-black. The ANC is scared to take a position and represent black people. The DA is not scared of taking a position that is pro-liberal and pro-white capital. The ANC doesn't want to take that posture and support things that are black and support their own.
Why is that?
If then we are not supported by them, who then will support us?
Why is the ANC afraid to take that posture?
Because it's trying to please everyone. And you can't. And it seems like it is indebted to capital. It has allowed capital to infiltrate it and the politics of it to be controlled by money. Now, he who feeds you controls you. Then the question is, who controls the policies of the ANC? Is the donors, is the people who pump in the money. And those people who pump in the money is not black people. It's not black capital. Because we don't have black capital. This means that it is then white monopoly capital, which will always pursue to protect the status quo, which is white privilege. Now, the ANC has now become the biggest defenders of white privilege.
For example?
For example, they had failed to produce black billionaires. The apartheid government intentionally made the white Boer hegemony in farming. They made the farmers. They were building the silos for the farmers for free. They were building the railroads to the farms. They made these people. They were giving them the land. We have failed to do that. We have failed to build our own institutions that we can pride ourselves. They have also allowed the history of the country to fade, because the history of where we come from, the brutality and the pain of apartheid must never go out of our tongue, because it makes us to be who we are. It gives us the strength to continue fighting. But the Jews will never stop talking about Holocaust.
Of course.
They will never, under no circumstances. Because it's what makes them to be who they are, and it makes sure that it is never repeated again. We have stopped talking about apartheid. Our own children, now when you speak about that, oh my gosh, hey, apartheid is gone. Because it means we have failed to keep our history and to teach it with the purpose that the history, the past, prepares the future. And now, we have lost. We don't know who we are and where we come from. That's where the lack of patriotism comes from. That's why anyone can come in South Africa and take over the land, the spazas, and strive. Because South Africans, there's something that is lacking. The indoctrination. A nation gets indoctrinated to think in a certain way. They don't just wake up and think in a certain way. Russians never woke up and became Russian. Their history of the wars and that made them to be who they are. They are always reminded that the world hates you. You need to stick to each other. That's what is lacking here. You look at even if you go to the stock exchange, white people under the black government have made more money than they made during apartheid. They are striving under the black government than they strived during apartheid. That's what I'm saying, that these chaps have become the biggest defenders of white monopoly capital. It is the black government that slaughtered people in Marikana. It was defending capital when they slaughtered those people there. They've become the biggest defenders. It's the black government that is not giving its black poor people free education to protect competition against the white people.
But this is a government you support. This is a political
party.
The
ANC is a part of our parents.
Yeah.
Just like Orlando Pirates is a team of our parents and ancestors.
Be careful not to sound like a typical Kaizer Chiefs fan who, against all odds, they take back, they tell you history, not present and not future.
Yeah.
They tell you where it comes from and how great it was.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked this question, that you continue to be a member in good standing of the ANC.
Yeah. Well, remember us, unlike our children, us, we are the generation, I would say we are victims of hope.
Okay.
There's nothing else that we know outside of the ANC. We were breastfed the ANC. We had the ANC we see now is not the one we envisioned. It takes time to emotionally detach. But I think we are in that process to emotionally detach, because it is, as I'm sitting in front of you, I find it very difficult to defend anything that they do. That's the beginning of the emotional detachment, which takes time. But we were breastfed this thing. We grew up in an environment where at home the only pictures that are there are of MK, of parents in the MK, in the trenches, them with your Mandelas, the people, as a childhood you were meeting the Mandelas, we were meeting all of these people. So we had an imaginary, we have imagined a better South Africa under the ANC. We could imagine things. Sometimes maybe we even imagined ourselves as being leaders of it one day. But we have realized that that is a far-fetched dream. It's like wet dreams. It's an impossibility, because you look at where are we going as a country. I don't even know. When I drive around Soweto, because I'm from the South, you look at the young people there, you ask yourself, what is going to happen to these young people? They are dying out of poisonous food in the spaza shops. There's just no hope. It hurts. Now, our children, because we now have children, they can't relate to this. They tell you point blank to say an organization or an institution that can only pride itself with its past and previous glories and nothing present and future is a dead organization.
And what do you say to that? And you highlighted a point that you struggle to defend something that is just so tricky. What do you say to that when someone say, not lento ayisebenzi? Mario P is trying to wind it, hoping that it switches on.
We've stopped defending.
Yeah.
Because we'll be defending the indefensible. You can't defend the ANC today and not look stupid. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. Just recently, yesterday, a boy, a high school boy died in Kliptown, crossing a river. Children in Eastern Cape still cross rivers. Children still die in pit toilets. Today, there is a lot that is happening in the country that is not supposed to happen. Crimes are running berserk. The murder, the rapes, the brutal, violent crimes where people, they are breaking into people's homes, transfer monies, and all of those things. There's a circulating video of ML or somewhere there where this chap was shot in a filling station numerous times. And this chap was arrogant enough to not even run, take time to even collect the cartridge because they're in charge. Now, it all happens here. We don't have electricity. We've never thought, even in our widest dreams, that we will never have electricity in South Africa. There is no justification for us not having electricity. Stop pointing Zuma and pointing whosoever. It's a black government since 1994. Same black government. We can't then keep on blaming is this one. It's an organization. That person was not representing himself. We are not led by independence here. So I'm saying again now, we don't have electricity here. With a lot of mines, of coal mines. With our coal even now, you will have more than 2,000 trucks going to Richards Bay now. We are listening to Europe that says we must decommission. When they are building coal mines in Europe, France is building coal mines. Yeah. Germany is building coal mines. China was reviving its own coal mines. They are saying to South Africa, decommission, shut down your coal mines. And the black government agrees to shut down the coal mine with black employees working there, with the black communities sitting next to around the coal mine, which are now going to be ghost towns. That's the cruelty and brutality of comrades. They don't care about anyone else but them and their own and extravagant, opulent lifestyle and slave queens, because they all want us to hero worship them. You can only hero worship them because you have none and they have something that you want. In this case, they have the bread. I don't have the bread. I must go and beg people that must be begging me as the voter. That's what is happening in South Africa. The voters are begging the politicians instead of the politicians begging the voters, because they've created a dependent citizenry. People who can't feed themselves, people who must survive on handouts. They must be fed like a chicken. People who can't do anything, we can't even scratch their backs. It is created by a system that is destroying a nation. They have managed to destroy the black power, the black man. The black South African man is destroyed. We're no longer the manhood that I can feed myself. I can protect my children. I can do this and that. That's the manhood. It's gone. We are paupers. We are beggars. Our children are on the streets. Our brothers are on Nyaope, and nobody cares about it. They go on, they will be dancing on TV anytime soon. They as if there's nothing wrong. Spotlight dance everything when we are in the dark.
At the heart of what you're saying is activism on lack of.
It's lack of.
During Fees Must Fall, truly what was at the heart of it was activism. And you speak about it, that there was a consciousness, there was a wokeness. There was a wokeness.
It was in the rise.
Yes. And also you highlight that nothing of that nature has happened before, after 1976. It was a moment.
It was quiet.
Are we at a stage in South Africa now where we need that type of activism?
We need it. We need it more than before.
Yeah.
Because
more than before 1976.
More than before even Fees Must Fall.
Yeah.
Because everything is collapsing. Nothing seems to work. The health system is collapsed. You go to Bara, there are no tablets. You go to Bara, there's nothing. There are no beds. There's nothing. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
My mother died there in Bara.
Yo.
There was no oxygen. Aaron Mtsoledi can tell you. Because I made noise. I took them on. I called him. I was texting him. She was supposed to go for theater. I signed that she must go to theater. Right? Then they scheduled her for theater. When she was there was no oxygen.
Yo.
When I made the noise, the hospital wanted to lie that there was oxygen. Only to find that most of the doctors are from vets. They told me what happened. I reported to Aaron Mtsoledi. He made a commission. Gwen Ramaphosa was the acting MEC at the time of health. They went to Bara unannounced. They then started blaming Easy Gas, that there was no gas in that thing. But our parents were dead. I'm telling you, I'm not sometimes the anger that I have is justified. I am angry. You will have people saying we're an angry black. There's nothing to be amused about. There's nothing. My mother died there in Bara in 2018 due to the negligence of the black government. And they know the story. Aaron Mtsoledi knows the story because I dealt with it with him and Gwen. And they did that by removing the manager of Bara, some Mandla, whatever, I don't know his name. But I'm talking about what is happening in the country. The railway has been stripped. Our parents were traveling with train from the township to the city to work. The train is not there. The roads, it's terrible. SAA is terrible. Denel, our own pride as a country, it's gone. Eskom is shambles. I don't know how we are even surviving. To say we are on autopilot is an understatement. Nothing is working here. Like we have no pride to say what is now our pride. We are a joke of the world. Even when you want to comment on anything that is of the world, once they check that you are from South Africa, whether it's on Twitter or anywhere, those Americans ask you, how is load shedding? They're even cracking jokes, the comedians in the US. Which, what is it called? Load shedding. What is that? You know what I mean? So
we label things here.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. So young people should be fighting. We have accepted things that are not supposed to be acceptable.
You're sending this message to young people.
Yeah.
You're saying young people should rise up.
Yeah, that's where the energy is.
Why are you not talking about those that are older than young people? Are you saying they are gone for good?
They are irreparable. Because they are irreparable, and it's said that I am almost there.
You count yourself in that group.
I'm not yet completely damaged.
Yeah.
But I am almost there because I'm being swallowed by capital. We are beginning to start to work. We are beginning to take bonds. We are now owing a house, a car. My kids
School
must
fees.
go to school.
Yeah.
My kids go to these schools here in Randburg, in Bryanston, because that's where the mothers stay.
Yo.
You know what I mean? So now you are beginning to have those responsibilities that now when you want to make the noise, they're like, hey, still need to pay bond. So then young people have no responsibility because they are fed by us as parents. They are the ones who must be leading the fight. That's why we could fight then. We were sleeping in the dress. We were eating at dining
Even
hall.
after throwing a rock.
Yeah, we
We
go
were
to
lying.
rest. We have a place to sleep.
Yeah.
We have food. They've cooked their dining hall. So we cared about nothing, Moon. Didn't care about cars. There were buses of vets taking us to residencies or Rossbank to buy food. So it's those type of things.
Yeah.
So there's always age for everything. That you can do this as young people. That's why the pressure is always on young people to change things. What is Gwede? What can be changed by Gwede?
Well,
There's nothing.
well, he's singing the right noise.
Yeah, but
about coal.
yes,
He
but
says we can't
also
shut
he
down the
needs the
market.
young people.
Yeah.
Because also him being there, he might see the problem. But organizational discipline, he's in the system, he can't take his own way. But the young people can push him, assist him to push the ideas that he has. He needs the activism to achieve these things. The refineries. Why were the refineries closed? Why both refineries were closed? Why was Sasol sold? Why was Old Mutual? Why were all these things privatized? Why is the privatization continue? By the way, Old Mutual was made through our parents' taxpayers' money. Pension fund. Pension fund of our parents were taken. About 20 billion was invested in Old Mutual. As we speak today, the CEOs of Old Mutual are non-South Africans. Then you ask yourself, why is capital not patriotic? Why are they not contributing in assisting the country, in nation building? They have no obligation. They have no responsibility to uplift the children in the hood. What is Old Mutual doing with the 20 billion of our parents that was put there, with Nedbank, by the way? Our parents' money was put in these two entities. But no one wants to talk about that. Because these things, they now behave as if they just mushroom from anywhere. They are no longer serving the purpose of why they were made. They have no patriotism. They lack any sense of citizenry and to build anything.
I want to stay on activism. Are we not angry enough? You said, I'm angry, and your anger is justified.
Of course.
Your anger is personal, it's clear, and you have things to point at. Are we South Africans with all this thing that you've described? If you were telling this person, someone who doesn't live here, a story about South Africa, and that's the story you painted, they would say, then where are the people? What are they doing when all of this is crumbling? Are we not angry enough? And if we are not, why are we like that?
People are angry. But they are distracted.
Okay.
There are a lot of useless things that are distracting us.
For example?
The groove culture, the excessive drinking, the nightlife, sex and drugs and alcohol is what is distracting young people from reality. They are running away from facing reality so that they are always intoxicated and behave as if they are happy when they are in the groove, in Konka and Kong and these places, others. I don't know these places because I don't drink.
I'm like
so I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go to, but I know them.
Yeah.
That they have taken away young people from dealing with issues that will affect them tomorrow. Also, we have the political parties, which in a way have captured the anger and the reaction of the young people.
Okay.
It is captured. It has been numbed. It's controlled. The anger. I'll take you back to FISMAS 4. When we were protesting a noble and justified cause, the then youth league of Colin Maine was attacking us. A youth league was against FISMAS 4.
Strange.
They were attacking us, calling us a death force, and all of these things that they were calling us. Reactionaries, populists. They were calling press conferences every day, but we closed our ears because we knew what we were dealing with. We felt sorry for them. Now, that's what is happening. Then what has now happened is that due to the groove culture and the opulence, extravagant lifestyle that is being dangled in the eyes of the young people by the politicians. Because these politicians, all of them are show-offing opulence and extravagance lifestyle everywhere in the public. And all of us and the young people, we want that life. Now they are dangling it in your face. Now when you raise your voice, you are reminded, hey, you won't get here. You see, you won't get to this extravagant life.
You won't get this Louis Vuitton.
You won't get it, the Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
And all of this illusional lifestyle. So they've used that. They have created a bunch of hungry youth that cannot stand for anything. The black government is now using tactics that were used on them when they were fighting apartheid. It is, there is a book that was written by Professor Mumdan. He says, when the victims become killers, that's where we are. They are using the same tactics to control reaction and uprisings and any noise that exposes their incompetence and failures by using the very same young people. If we are 3 or 4 here and we are fighting, they will come and give you a BMW and then isolate the other one. Then we are divided. That's what they did. They elevated some amongst us and destroyed others amongst us and left others to die of poverty and hunger on the side. And those that they elevated were not the sharpest amongst us, but that's what they do. So that they elevate those that they can control, because they can't elevate those that don't need anything from them. Because if you know who you are and what you are destined for, then you will never sell your soul. You are not going to be manipulated. That's why they couldn't capture some of us, because they didn't know how to capture us. We were genuine. We were genuine to the cause. For us, it was more than like a calling. Because sometimes we will do things and say things unconsciously. Like even when you listen to yourself, you're like, hey, I said this thing. So it felt like maybe there's some powers that are using us to liberate the people. We couldn't, maybe psychologists could explain it better. We get triggered. Then in the heat of the moment, then we are gone. Once we are done, we are done. We move on.
You describe a type of anger and activism that is synonymous to the Bikos and the Mandelas and the Sisulus. That's a activism that existed at a certain time in the history of South Africa. That at its core, it was willing to sacrifice even its own well-being for the greater good.
Yes.
Are you saying we don't have that now?
No, we don't. We don't have. Politics is a calling. It's a calling. It's not meant to make anyone to be a billionaire. Now, people have used politics for quick riches. It has distorted. It has lost its true meaning and value. What is it for? Politics is a calling. You serve. Not that the people are serving you. It's a calling. It's a sacrifice. It's serve and sacrifice. They are sacrificing nothing. There is some ANC comrade who once said when we were young, we didn't struggle to be poor.
Yes, I remember that quote. I think it's Ubabu Smart Ngwenyama.
We didn't struggle to be poor. That's what they are doing. Show me one of the leaders of the ruling party who's poor, even at branch level, anyway. But the people are poor. So it has stopped being for the people and being about the people. Now, back then, just to raise your hand and say I am ANC, it was sacrifice enough because we were going to die. A lot of people back then didn't even want to lead. That's why the best amongst them could come out, because there were no benefits.
None.
But sacrifice.
True.
You will die. Your parents will be exposed to all of harassment. Your Mandelas were elected in absentia, but they were elected. You know what I mean? Now, yeah. Thabo Mbeki was saying, we have a lot of ndiketen. Hey, ketan mina. Hey, ketan mina. Hey, ketan min. That's why we are where we are. There are a lot of people who are in politics who don't deserve to be there. There are people who can't even lead themselves. How are they going to lead us? You ask yourself, Dr. Pali, the statistician.
Padile Hotla.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, he says that the standards have been dropped drastically, and it's shocking. He says, if you go for an operation in the hospital, would you go to agree to be operated by someone who has no medical qualification and who also specializes in surgery?
How is that possible?
But why do we allow people who have no capacity to lead, who have nothing, no qualification, no capacity, who are incapacitated to lead a country?
But that
we are talking of a country. They even determine the health system. They can't lead themselves. That's why.
But you're questioning something that we seem to have accepted and move on from it. That you don't have to be educated to be in politics.
You must have capacity.
Yeah, but how do I prove that you are? Because all you do is speak at meetings.
Now, it must be the best amongst us. That's where the principle applies. Those who say Mcebo means I should have defeated them somewhere. To say he is the best amongst us.
Yeah.
Through the eye of the needle. Where is that principle? Is it really through an eye of the needle? What is the test that they are using?
Maybe the eye is very big.
It is through the eye of the stomach. Because now these people are just focusing on the infrastructure of the stomach. It's politics of the stomach. Look at the stomach of Comrades Moon. The infrastructure is there. They are focusing on the infrastructure of the stomach. Money have destroyed our politics and activism in the country. Remember again now, the collapse, the instability in the country works for someone. There's someone who's making money with the failures that we have alluded to. Someone is making money with the collapse of SAA, with the collapse of DNL, with the collapse of Eskom. Now there are people who are making billions through the diesel that is being banned. Billions. With the cable thieves, someone replaces the cables.
Knowing that it'll be stolen again.
It will be stolen again, probably by his people, so that he gets the tender. We are told that coal stations have breakdowns. Who's breaking them? You hear people are throwing rocks there because someone must go and fix. It is those things, but it is the tendering process that has led us to where we are.
But tendering process existed before us.
It has gotten out of hand. You can't tell me that a municipality can't buy toilet paper for itself, or soap, or printing papers. A municipality can't close potholes. It must be tendered. There is a story this side of, I think it's Kyalami or here in Bryanston, I'm not sure. I saw it somewhere. There was a pothole, a huge pothole that was annoying people. And the community came. They just brought a bag of cement, Alpha cement. They just pour it in the pothole during a raining day, right? point, then it closed. The municipality then came and dig the cement.
And removed it.
They removed the cement. They were not closing the pothole, but they came to remove the cement to say it's not good for the road. What do you call that? You look at the robots that are being cut by Nyaopes.
Yeah, I saw that.
But someone benefits from the robots, the replacement of the robots. So, but a lot of things that are happening in the country are not supposed to happen. There is a serious moral degeneration. There is a breakdown. We need to deal with the mind. But in dealing with the mind, it takes us back to all of these things to say, who is destroying the mind of our people? And for what? Because when the mind is dead, then the oppressor has no obligation to worry about any revolution and questioning of why things are happening the way they are happening. That's why the anger is not seen, because the mind is destroyed.
We are angry, but we are not openly angry.
The mind is destroyed.
Yeah.
We would rather be like, hey, fuck the Eskom and all
and
these
we
things.
tweet.
Yeah, like, this thing. But we can act. The mind is destroyed. We have stopped focusing on the issues that matter the most to hold these people accountable. But the mind is intentionally damaged, distracted to focus on these things. I mean, if something were to happen here in South Africa, like something serious.
Let's talk about it. It happened.
Like something serious,
No.
Pala Pala or something. Something will be brought up to distract you. Maybe a naked woman or what. We start talking about Mini Dlamini and Kune. We're not talking about the 5 billion that played and Tulas Nes and Kodongwan and Fikile Mbalul are accused of soliciting. We are now focused on Mini Dlamini mocking Kun as the entire country.
Are you saying? Are you saying?
Sick.
Wait a minute. You can't. Wait a minute. We are a patriotic country.
No, we're not.
Of people who love. Well, you saw us recently with the Springboks.
We pretend to be patriotic.
Okay, tell me more. Why do you say we pretend?
Patriotism in this country.
Then how does patriotism look to you?
Because if we were patriotic, if we were not faking patriotism and relevance, because here it's all about being relevant, to be seen as if you are patriotic, the spazas wouldn't be in the hands of non-South Africans.
Okay.
Because we will pride ourselves by feeding ourselves and doing things for ourselves. There wouldn't be non-South Africans, criminals who are stripping railway lines together with South Africans, who are assisting the foreign criminals to collapse our own country. That's lack of patriotism, where you would allow foreigners to come to your country, sabotage your country, collapse your country. You help and abate and protect them. The drug dealers who are non-South Africans are working with South Africans to destroy South African child. It is us who have made South Africa to be a safe haven for criminals who are non-South Africans. It's us. Because we provide accommodation for these criminals. You harbor them and hide them. When they were chasing criminals, were selling drugs in Rosettenville and some places, it is the people who were whom they were renting, to say, leave these people, they are my tenants. Who is going to pay rent here? The same thing with the Zamazamas. That's lack of patriotism. Okay. Because we have failed to protect what is ours against any infiltration of white people or any black people, any infiltration. The same way you can protect the food in the table of your children, no one can just come to your house and eat and say, hey, I'm black, let's eat here, and mureshek them in your yard and say, I'm black, I'm African. Why then do we allow it to happen with our land, with our resources, and all of those things? Now, also, there is the lack of patriotism is on the flag.
Explain?
what unites us as South African? What makes us to be South African? To say, even if you are EFF, I'm PAC, someone else is DA, someone else is VFF plus. But once you touch this thing, we cease to see ourselves along party lines. In America, once you touch the flag, they unite. The American dream, you can't touch them. Both black and white, they go crazy. What unites us as South Africans? That one thing. And that one thing that I'm talking about won't come from the sky. We have to identify it, define it, then indoctrinate.
Do we have people right now in our society, in our politics, who will do anything of that sort?
They can indoctrinate their own children. They lack any sense of leadership and quality to do that. They can't even think about these things that we're talking about. A nation gets indoctrinated. Behavior is taught. Behavior is learned. Behavior is molded.
We have been
Bad
molded.
things are chastised.
We have been molded.
Good things are celebrated. No, not in South Africa.
Let me tell you, we've been molded to be a unified rainbow nation culture of South Africa, where we seem to be aspiring for unity. Springbok winning the World Cup is a definition of that. We speak very often of it brings us together. We have that culture about us because for the longest time we were divided. Then Mandela came along. We started singing and dancing Rainbow Nation. And that is part of the culture of the South African being, whether it's expressed openly or not, or whether it waits for winning rugby or whatever it waits for, but that's where we are. Was that an incorrect indoctrination? Or maybe it's not enough? Or maybe I'm just completely blowing hot air?
Well, I would argue that, well, yes, there's an element of truth in what you are saying.
Yeah.
But remember, rugby, it's a once-off. It's a once-off in 4 years. Then after, we go back to our
lives.
Our lives of poverty and suffering and oppression. Right? We've forgotten. We go back. We are united in poverty. At the end, that's the reality. Now, I wouldn't say rugby is not unifying us. Because as black people and as a nation, we love sports. We love unity and togetherness and singing. There's that spirit that gets raised up. We just love sport.
That's our indoctrination.
But it is a once-off. It's not an indoctrination because it happens on its own. Because rugby is not taught or introduced in the township and rural schools. There's no rugby in Soweto, in Tsakani, in Tembisa, in Nutu,
in
Mamelodi, you know. So I wouldn't say it's an indoctrination. It's just happening. It's for the elite that has access to TV and all those type of things. But it's working to a certain level. But we can't say it's used intentionally, purposely to unite us. We need to find something. Mandela was an icon to try and unite South Africans.
He spoke of that.
Even himself. Yes. No, himself, his image. It was used to unite us. To an extent that you say, hey, do it for Mandela. Mandela, what will Mandela do when you do that?
The Mandela magic.
But the Mandela thing is losing relevance.
Or maybe it has already
our
lost
children
relevance.
and our generation are calling it a Mandela deception. We were deceived of a better South Africa. Go to Kliptown, where our parents were slaughtered, where the Freedom Charter was adopted. Look at Kliptown today. Look at the Walter Sisulu buildings there. It's a shame. These people have failed to maintain. They can't maintain anything, even things that are of importance to them and their history. Look at Kliptown. At least if we were saying the ANC government can only maintain the things that speak to them and their history, they can't maintain anything. Go to the Holocaust Museum. The Jews are maintaining that because it speaks to their values, their history, their present, and their future. We have failed to maintain. There's nothing we can't. There was a time they can't pay workers till Tuli House. How can they run a country? That's the sad reality that we don't want to speak about. We have billionaires who are politicians, who are now richer than the organization they lead. And they can't assist the organization they lead to survive. The ANC is taken to court. It is being sequestrated. They can't assist it. They couldn't pay workers. Till today, I'm sure they are not paid. But you look at the lifestyle of the people. What do you call that? It speaks to how cold the people we call leaders are. There's no sense of humanity. There's no sense of politics and leadership being a calling and serving. They're serving themselves, their children, their sons-in-law, being made billionaires overnight, and all of those type of things. And there's young people here these young people of Smirnoff, they'll be staying Viva Amandla, Viva on an empty stomach there, and going to face poverty as it is. People are going to their houses of 30 million, and that's the reality that we face.
Let's focus our attention slightly on leadership as a concept, because that's where you are. What type of leadership is ideal for the type of country that we have now? Not even the country that we had a few years ago. The current country. What type of leadership is required now? And the follow-up question will be, do we have it? But before you answer, do we have it? What type of leadership is required?
Well, might be controversial, but that's...
the whole conversation has been controversial. You can't go more than that.
We now need dictatorship.
Okay.
The country is damaged beyond. To bring it back, we need a benevolent dictatorship. We now need an iron fist.
Has the world had a dictator similar to the one you're imagining?
Well, remember, like in the world, in most countries, the dictatorship is the system, not an individual.
That's true.
They subscribe to a system that is a dictatorial
that is oppressive
in form.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who comes.
Okay.
Go to China today. You know, the system. It is the communist party of China. If they can put you there today, the line is straight for anyone. You go out of the line, they hang you. You'll be punished. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
If in the US, there's not democracy there. It's a dictatorship system that if you touch them, they'll bomb you. They'll go for you. They don't care about human rights as long as it's not
it
against them.
It protects
yes,
they
do
US.
That.
Yeah.
You have the Zionists there in Israel. They are bombing children and women and children in hospitals to protect whatever they believe in. But I'm not justifying that. I was just bringing an example. But that's the bad dictatorship.
Yeah.
I'm talking of a benevolent dictatorship. A dictatorship that is going to be for the people, to even protect the people, to create a certain citizenry, so that where people know that if I do this, there will be consequences. If I kill, I'll be killed. If I attack these SPV cars and Muri haste, we unleash SIU to kill, shoot and kill. There must be an eye for an eye against criminals. Brazen criminals, armed criminals. Those who are bombing ATMs must be killed there and then. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about soft crime that you can still be rehabilitated. But the brutal crimes, there must be consequences. There must be a government that says we are building a railway line from Johannesburg to
the Eastern Cape, to Musina.
To Musina.
Yeah.
To KZN. To Eastern Cape. If there are houses that are there, they must be removed. Because it is for the benefit of the country. It is for the good of the country. And we remove you. You can't then run and take us to court and there are NGOs that are stopping us. You go to downtown Johannesburg. We have hijacked buildings, filthy buildings, and you can't destroy downtown Johannesburg. It's the hub. It's what Johannesburg is. It needs to be revived. Shifting it, moving it to Stand City and moving it to these imaginary cities of Cyril, of bullet trains and smart city. That thing is just wet dreams. This is daydreaming. Never going to happen. Yes, that's not going to happen. Revive downtown. Revive it.
Yeah.
New York is downtown. London is downtown. You know, all these towns have their downtown. You don't allow it to collapse. But if the city, I've worked for the city, by the way. I've worked for
City of Johannesburg.
Yes,
Yeah.
in the mayor's office when it was Joff Makub, the deceased, the late.
Yeah.
I was working there. We wanted to impound. I was clear, I was aggressive because he put me under evictions and what in Group Liga. We said, wrote a document. So we're going to impound these buildings by force. And we're not going to sell them.
It didn't happen though.
Because of the NGOs. Because of the NGOs. We said we're going to impound these buildings and we're not going to sell them, but we're going to open them for property developers to say, here is a building. Can you improve it renovate it, bring it back to life within 8 months or 12 months? And we wanted to create low-cost housing to say, we are not going to tell you what to, but we are going to control. If we make it to be residencies, we tell you that a bed sleeping there must not be beyond 3,000.
Okay.
That's what the plan. No, to stop. Take us to court and what and whatnot and what.
So you're saying the type of leadership you imagine would carry on with that mission.
Yeah, because it's for the good of the country.
No NGO will stop you.
We shut down all the NGOs. The first thing, if I were to take over, was to shut down all the NGOs and for them to reapply.
Apply the same concept on these porous borders that we deal with in the country. Same dictator. What do you do?
It is the thing is, for me, is not the porous borders.
Okay.
For instance, it's the fact that the people are striving once they are inside. If the situation inside was not conducive, they wouldn't be coming. But they are finding it easy to survive. They have bank accounts, they have houses, they have jobs, they have everything. So it's not about the borders. It's about the lack of patriotism that I was talking about.
Got you.
Who does it work for to have these 10 million undocumented people? Where are they working? They're working in the farms. Who are they working for? They're working in the restaurant. Who does it work for? Who does it favor? It favors capital because it's free. It's cheap labor. It's cheap labor because a South African has rights. South African will make noise. So we'd rather not have them here, have these ones who don't have rights, who just want to survive. It works for capital. The borders are collapsed by capital because they want cheap labor. It's the same capital that is keeping our children in drugs and in nyaope so that they don't question the things that are happening in the country and so that they don't demand what is rightfully theirs.
What would the dictator do then to change that?
The labor laws must be tight. The labor laws must be tight. The banking system. It is non-South Africans who own the RDP houses. Being sold, the RDP houses are being sold by South Africans to the foreigners. That's the lack of patriotism. That's a country's investment. That is an upliftment that people died for a better housing, better life for one. And they are given those houses and they are selling it. Then they go back to the shacks. It's people who are delaying us. You take those people to jail. And the prisons themselves must be taken out of the city. Prisons must be taken out to the farms. Prisoners must work. Prisoners must feed themselves. Prisoners must wake up and go plow the fields The maize they eat, they must grow it. The eggs they eat, they must grow the broilers and the layers. They must grow pigs. They must make tables. They must make their own uniform. Prisoners must work, not be fed, not create a tender system that makes being in prison to be like a vacation. That's why they call a Naturena prison Sun City, because it's a hotel. I was arrested there, by the way, during Fismas Fall.
Surely it wasn't a hotel
It
experience.
is.
What was hotel about it?
When we go to prison, we had this, how prison is, because I've never been.
We see it on TV and it looks dangerous.
Like we think like it's
in the movie.
It's bad. Those prisons of Mexico, it's terrible. Now when the Sun City, man, is very clean. It's like it's cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that there isn't stabbing,
of course,
but it's clean. It's well taken care of. It's a nice prison, Yeah. Maybe Bopo's more terrible. I don't know. I'm talking of the one I went to. Sun City is very clean. The food is clean. The food is proper. If it might be small, but it's proper.
Yeah.
And it's clean. And the uniform is new. The blankets are there. You know what I mean? So
the tender system.
There's hospital there. We are well taken care of. There's a school. You can study there. There are laptops. There is a shop. You can get anything you want. Red Bull. It's nice, man.
I can't believe you say
there's a church.
It's nice.
There's a church there. I found there's even a prophet, the ZCC prophet there in Sun City that makes Ndaela for the wonders as well. But it's those type of things. I'm not saying people must be treated as animals, but they must work. You wake up. I was waking up to sleep.
Yeah.
Wake up to sleep again. There's nothing. Wake up, go and plow fields, they look after cattle. They must work. They must assist in boosting the economy. They must become the cheap labor. The desks, the furniture that goes to the government schools must be made by the prisoners for free.
I asked and I said, as a follow-up question, if we have a leadership like that. Well, it's pretty clear we don't, because there's nothing like that you've just described. Then what type of leadership do we have now?
Now, we have puppets.
Okay.
We have stooges of white monopoly capital. We have neoliberals and neo-colonialists, which are worse than the colonialist itself, because they are always trying to please the master. We have people who have no sense of self. They have no sense of love. They don't even love themselves because they don't even take care of themselves. You have ministers whom, when they are removed from their ministerial positions, they don't have a house to sleep. A minister. They don't have a car. I'm talking about a reality, not a fantasy. When they are removed from Waterkloof, the government houses, they don't have their own. Remember, that house is for government. The cars they drive is for government. When they are reshuffled, they have nothing. So how can they plan for the future of the country if they can't plan for themselves? That's what I'm talking about. We are led by people who are not supposed to be near anything that has to do with leadership, even worse of a country. We are led by people who can't even lead a preschool, a Sunday school. We are led by people who can't even run a spaza shop. A spaza shop.
Then how do they become leaders then? And why do we even use the word leadership to refer to them? Surely there's something that they must be doing good or well.
There's nothing that they are doing good. It is the system that determines who leads the ANC.
You see why it was important to describe the system.
It is the system in our case, which is capital.
Yeah.
Which is white monopoly capital that controls the policies of the ANC. They control the outcome of Nasrec through the funding, the monies that they pump in there. They determine who must lead. And the person who must lead must be someone who will do what is good for them, not for the people.
So are you saying currently the ANC is unable to produce the type of leadership that would be carrying for the people.
The best in the ANC
Uh.
are sidelined.
Do we have them?
There are quite a number of them, but we'll never see them because they are silenced. They are not coming anywhere near the public space. They are suppressed. They are clobbered. They will be charged. Even crazy charges might be brought because probably you refused to sign something. It's just ridiculous. It's just crazy. It's unbelievable when we speak about it because you can't even think about it being practical. But it is what is happening. They want the useless people so that they can control them and so that they can continue with the uselessness so that it benefits capital. Capital benefits in any chaos and incompetence and inadequacies because they then call for the privatization. They then call, so they bring this thing. They have collapsed the security of the country, the police, the SAPs. You see the mushrooming of the armed security companies, which are more armed than the SAPs itself. Now, who owns these fully armed private securities, which are more armed than the state? They can take us on at any time. They are now collapsing under funding the SANDF. We are told the soldiers, they don't have enough budget. Military don't have budget. Why are you weakening the system? For his benefit is the system being weakened. It is because the system is black. Not the system, the government is black. So they are weakening the system because it's a government, it's a black government in a system that has been white. Remember the white government had nuclear?
Yes, in Atteridgeville.
Yeah. And I think in Cape Town as well, there was one.
Yeah.
They were destroyed when the black government came.
Well, but the Pelindaba is still there. What it does, it's another story.
Yeah,
We're not sure.
But a lot of things, Sasol was owned by government.
Of course.
It was dismantled. You can name the things that were owned by government that were dismantled. Why? Because the government is now black.
But wait, we have political control. And when I say we, I'm talking about the black. We have political control. That means we are able to make decisions. That means we can stop some of these things from happening.
Who?
The black government.
No, we don't have
which is put in power by the people.
No, the ANC is not in power.
Okay.
It is in office.
Explain.
They are not in power because they can't take any decision.
Who's taking the decisions then?
That's what we must be dealing with. But there is a well-known phenomenon of a Stellenbosch mafia. And I subscribe to it as well.
Okay.
Yes, I believe it. When I'm saying they can't take any decision, how many decisions that were taken by government and stopped by courts?
Example?
Some of them, you find that they were good. The recent one, but there is plenty.
Yeah.
You know? There was one where Zuma was trying to, classified, where he was trying to control what is said in the public. All countries do that, but I've forgotten what it was. But there was a public outcry. You remember where Zuma was trying to control the media and what is said. It was taking us to the patriotism because in the US, you'll never hear the US media, CNN, talking about there's a city there where everyone is on drugs. Like everyone, you'll never see that thing. Where everyone is leaning, is dying.
It's a ghost town.
They don't talk about the bad things, the killings there. They talk about, they sell a good image of the US. It's only us where we always take the bad, not the good. Always. Always. So I think he was trying to deal with that, but they said he's hiding the Guptas. Sharp. There's a lot. The same thing of rolling out fees must fall. The government had taken a decision to roll it out. It is being reversed, probably being taken to court. The NHI, it is,
it's been in the process for many years.
Exactly, it is stalled.
Yeah.
It is being taken to court. I think even the BE itself is being taken to court.
Aaron Motsoaledi is trying to change so much.
Is working. Whatever Aaron is dealing with is for the benefit of the black child. It's for the benefit of a South African child. Aaron is trying to protect the interest of a South African child, but is taken to court by NGOs in this country. Whose interest are these NGOs serving? Now, there is a lot. When I was in the city, there is a place there in the south when you pass Lenasia called Loli.
I see it, yes.
We were evicting people there because that area was already demarcated for development. There was budget for development in that area. Once the city approves, next week, sheikhs mushroomed.
Yeah, my thought.
We went to evict them. We're taken to court by NGOs. That project, the demarcation and everything stopped.
Yo.
So recently, is it Kubai who was stopped? Was Kubai ever in tourism?
Amoloko.
Yeah, it's here.
Is it here?
Where he was trying during COVID, where he was trying to give more preference to the black
I'm not sure.
Tourist, what, those things. And was taken to court. That policy was taken to court. It was on tourism. I'm sure it was on tourism.
My reference of Kubai during COVID is when she was partying.
No, Mamalu.
Yes.
I think it was in tourism.
I'm not sure. And if I'm wrong.
Yeah, she was in tourism, then replaced by Lindy.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, okay. Now there's this one of
there's Delil, yes.
That one is lost. Yeah, you see. So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That there's always these things that then makes me to say, these chaps are not in government.
They're in office.
Here is a good example.
Okay.
The ANC, it's marching against Eskom. They protest to Eskom. The ANC is a party, which is a ruling party. They protest to Eskom. Who deploys that Eskom? Who appoints the board there at Eskom?
Are you saying they're marching against themselves?
That's what I'm saying. They're marching against themselves. They will be marching to Hammanskraal. Our people died in Hammanskraal. Of water. And the water didn't disappear yesterday. They haven't been having no water. Even when we were kids, as students, we knew Hammanskraal kids, when they come to the city, I was from Hammanskraal, they were pale. And even their uniform white had colors that we don't know. We knew them. I once dated a Tonga girl from Hammanskraal. Yeah. Ivy. Yeah, Ivy was my girlfriend from Hammanskraal.
Sound like you're having sentimental memories of Ivy.
No, because the chaps were dissing me with the shirt and those type of things because of the water there. Yeah, didn't
so it's not a recent problem.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know where she is.
Look at you. You're having a special memory.
Yeah, but she was a good woman. Yeah, but like it's because of
I hope you didn't leave her for the shirt.
No. We just grew apart. She went to UJ, I was at VET, and all of those type of things.
That's a 1 kilometer away.
Yeah, but then I became into this.
An activist.
Popular. She never liked that.
Poor thing.
Yeah, because she felt like there are some women who are like, we are too out there. It's
too famous.
Yeah, it's not good for me. Probably she was scared of competition.
So we don't have that kind of leadership. That'll take us, because I'm thinking about where's our main failure, and you've answered it in many different versions. Because we have an ANC government, a party that you're likely to vote for in the next elections, a party that you've probably voted for many times before.
Yeah.
Have you ever wasted a vote? By this I mean, here's an election and you decided not to vote.
No, I've never.
That means you voted. Am I correct in assuming you voted for the ANC?
Yeah.
So you are then you're part of the problem, isn't it?
Yes, because we are victims of hope. We always believe that we'll do better.
But here he is. We are shy.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, we are shy. We are police. We are police.
We are victims of hope.
Flowers. We are
victims of hope. We are in an abusive relationship.
That's the question I'm asking.
People who are in abusive relationships normally don't live a life. They die there. Even in practical sense. Women who are in abusive relationship. I had my own sister who was in an abusive relationship when I was still in high school. And this chap would lock her in the room and deny her to go out, deny her to use roll-on, saying, where are you going? And
why do you smell nice?
Yes. And every day I would look at this guy. And now I'm from a family of girls. Now I'm like, one day I want to murder this person.
Mm-hmm. The sister never left.
He never left.
Yeah.
They will fetch her at home. She will stay and return. I grew up. It's a true story. I grew up. Once I felt that, you know what?
Indeed.
Now, I think I was now doing first year or second year. I went. I came back from university. I went home. I took, there was a blue van there at home. I drove to where they stay. I found that she's locked. I'm talking to her through the back. I broke that back. And this guy was in the next door. He came. He said, hey, I'm fine. That's not anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not your boy. And he thought I was playing. I'm too mad.
Justice.
And my sister was that mshaye.
Hey, my daughter.
Mshaye. And the neighbors, none of them, they were actually excited because they've been complaining about this thing. Then ngabengitshela lo ukuthi ngene emotweni hambe ekhaya. Ngene emotweni.
Let's go.
When I got home, ngathi uboko ubuyele.
Yeah.
So ngibonile njani. Ngangasahlali because it was a break. I ended up not staying at home. I went back to the university after that. You know, but I had what? My sister stayed at home until
she never went back.
Yeah.
Is that the hope we're talking about? That maybe we might survive? Because in the story you're telling, this guy...
We need that
this guy,
brutal awakening.
Yes, this guy is the destruction of this country that we are looking at. And we are hoping to free ourselves from it. And you were able to free your sister. You were the Mandela of the moment. You were...
Was Krizani.
You're Krizani of the moment. Aha. and so are we waiting for someone to rescue us?
The problem is that there's no alternative.
Okay. I've read something where you speak of we are a country of no alternatives. We have.
We lack an alternative to the ANC.
Wait a minute.
Because people say, what else?
How about that? Wait a minute.
At home, I had to grow.
Wait a minute.
To be deliberate.
Let's pause there for a second. Simple politics and simple analysis. We have the EFF.
Yeah.
Alternative.
Yeah.
We have the DA. Alternative. Allow me to complete my thought.
Yeah.
And many other political parties.
Of course.
That are on paper, they are Action SA. Musimaiman is trying something there. We have everything but the ANC. And you're saying that's not enough.
Yes.
Why is that?
Now, we have a lot of political parties in
400 and odd.
What are they all for? What do they represent? What is their, how ideologically different are they from the ANC?
Okay.
In South Africa, we probably have 4 political parties in terms of ideology, what they stand for.
Help us with that.
We have the Pan-Africans, which is the PAC, ASAPO, and what is this other party that is now non-existent of the guy from Mpumalanga?
Who
didn't make it now.
Oh, now in the
Scopa.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
From
I got you. I forget who it is.
You can categorize
as the Pan-Africanist.
Yeah, he was
politics
in that space.
Yeah.
Right? Then you will have the Christian parties.
Okay. Yeah,
then you have the
ANC,
ANC,
so forth.
which is liberal.
Uh-huh.
For me, I think the ANC is liberal.
Yeah, it is.
And in a way, they are even refusing to be ideological. There's too much ideological confusion within them when the cat, just because the cat, whether it's white or black, or as long as it catches, so, and the issue of non-racialism. Because another problem with me, maybe my analysis of it will always be, because even during our activism,
Mm-hmm.
I come from the Black consciousness and Pan-Africanism school of thought.
Mm-hmm.
We were the Africanist in the ANC.
In the ANC, okay.
So we were always dragging it,
Mm,
you know.
mm.
So there was, even in SASCO, there were always that we are the ones who, even at VETS, who brought Biko into the SASCO t-shirt.
Okay.
Then there were people who were saying it's a confusion of SASCO to have Biko, you know, but it was a battle of ideas all the time.
Yeah.
So even in any way, even in presentation, we've always argued the issue of non-racialism, where I say, I don't believe there's something called non-racialism. Non-racialism is lack of ideologies, is ideological malnourishment. I believe that race is everything. You are white, I'm white. I'm black, you are white. Race is everything. We have to define these things as they are, so that we can be able to deal with the ills and the things. Because to say we are all South Africans, yes, we are all South Africans, but we experience South Africa differently. But once you want to cover us with one blanket, as if we all own the farms, we own sheep, we own lambs and all of these things, it's wrong. You know, some of us are poor, some can't even afford bread, some are in shacks, some are in that. So, but who are those who are there? It's blacks. So we need to be able to define these things as they are. We're not saying we must be racist and all that, but define our people according to who they are, because it tells you where in the strata they are. Now,
alternative.
Now then you have the EFF, which for me, the EFF is appealing to the youth.
Yes.
Which want radicalism, but the old guards are scared. They're sensitive to the language and the reaction of the EFF. Now, there are people who like what the EFF says, but they are scared of an EFF government. Even those who are oppressed, who call for the EFF when they experience problems. But when they look at it, they're like, hey, it's a fear of unknown. They feel presentation is important. I speak different from, who's this guy? This guy of ACT.
Yeah.
The Xhosa,
The
president
of the
ACT.
yes, yeah.
Not, is it ACT? No.
Which political party?
Now saying ACT. That one of Jimmy Mang, the one he left.
Yeah. The one that
What is it called?
I'll check it out quickly with Jimmy Manyagana, which political party it is. I know it.
What is this party?
Yes.
There's this guy,
Yes.
the president.
Yes.
When he speaks, that chap, I love him.
Yeah.
The presentation,
We'll find
the
it.
tone.
Wait a second. Let's find
What
it.
is this?
So we
What
do
is
we
it
do
called?
we do this right. It'll tell us.
No, I'm thinking of X because of Ace Mahashu. But there's this.
Is he making an impression?
No, because we talk sometimes.
Give us a second. We'll find him. What is it? No. He's not with the EFF. He's not with the EFF.
one.
Well, he is with the EFF.
No,
but
the one he was from
he was
before he
from,
went to the
he
EFF.
was from. Hold on, give me
What
one
is it
second.
called? Why are we
Let's see.
forgetting this party's witchcraft, man?
They don't.
Because they've been defending the public protector Mcebo
Yes.
nicely.
Give me 1 second.
know,
we'll find him. We'll find him
what
straight
is
from the
this,
Gupta's.
ATM.
ATM. Well, yes, ATM.
Yes. The president of ATM.
Click the president of the ATM there. Let's see who it is. Yes, ATM.
So
very
I
vocal.
want to talk about the presentation of that young man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not him.
Mm.
I can't be him. I'm loud. I'm radical. I'm emotional. He can control the emotions. He
Yeah.
can appeal
Mm.
to a lot of people.
Let's find his name.
Zungula.
There. Okay.
Zungula.
Yeah.
There's something in Zungula.
Mm.
He's not radical. He's not trying to be something that is not, but he's articulate. How he presents himself. You can listen to him.
Yeah.
Anyone can listen to him. Whether he's talking trash or whatever, but you would have listened. You want to listen. He's similar as the Baloyi guy, of the one who left.
Yes.
The DA guy. I don't
I
know.
see
He
that.
went to form a tribal party there at home. You see, was ill-advised. You see, it's their character Now, if you come with dong, 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 like us, you scare a lot of people. You will be good for certain things.
Is that what you're saying
But
about the EFF?
Are you ready
Yeah.
to come?
Is that what you're saying about the EFF? That it's a glung, 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 glung.
Currently.
And that is scary for others.
And also the issue of this thing of foreigners,
Okay.
of opening borders. It's annoying a lot of South Africans. Whether they can try to cover it and defend it, and because they are good in dealing, they have capacity. Julius can speak. He's a good public orator.
Yeah.
The guy is good.
Yeah.
Like, give him platform, he's good. And he has built this thing. And he's decisive. And I don't know how they will take it, his members. Like, for me, he's the benevolent.
He's a possible
benevolent dictatorship that I was talking about. For how he runs the party. You can complain of how he runs the party, but it works.
Yeah.
For the party. It's good for the party. It can't be a free for all. There must be rules, man. There must be, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do as it pleases. That guy will fire you.
When have you seen him do that? Which example? I can highlight one of this event that he had, the celebrating of the 10th anniversary, and some members in other parts of the country did not organize buses.
He released them.
Yes.
And he's been releasing people not once. He's been releasing them for incompetency in elections. He says, no, you've dropped.
Yeah.
You fail to explain, they release you. He's been doing that. He's been disbanding. KZN was disbanded before. But how he deals with this thing, he's keeping it intact. The center is holding.
Is he the alternative?
I love him personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Julius. I don't have a problem with him. And I think we speak the same language. And that's why a lot of people think why are you not joining the EFF and all those type of things.
What is your answer to that question?
Well, I think we are the same person. You can't have the two bulls in the same crowd.
Okay.
I'm talkative. I always take the center stage. I can't go there and sit for 2 hours and Julia speak alone. Because we have the same character.
Yes,
I think we are the same person in terms of character, how public address, the anger, the power, and then capturing the imagination of the public and all those type of things. But I know this, when I define the EFF, I'm defining it through me, my behavior, my character, how I address, how I'm even speaking now. There are old people when say, hey, this young man is too angry. So they can't even see you becoming a president because of my posture, my presentation, and all those type of things. Now, if you put me here and you put the Zungula guy that I'm talking about, he's more presidential than me.
However, does our country need that kind of president who is presidential? Because presidential sometimes can be seen as too soft, too kind, which is sometimes how our current president presents himself.
No. Cyril is useless. He doesn't present himself in any way.
How much?
He has failed to present himself. He has failed to arrive.
The
guy has failed to do anything. We don't know what he stands for. We don't know who he is. Because he has failed to move so that we can define him, say, no, he's this, he's a communist, I'm making an, he's this, no, he's just absent. So he's like someone who's failing to take action so that he's not charged. You don't want to be wrong. I'd rather not act so that I'm not caught. I'm scared of being attacked. So you are now attacked for doing nothing. The guy is being attacked for doing nothing. Look at City Press, where they are calling him a con man.
Are you saying he hasn't achieved anything at all?
No, nothing has reversed. Black people are worse off. There are black people who were striving during the Zuma era. The business chaps, they were growing. They were moving. Cars were taken. A lot of things. Black houses were chowed.
Some can say it was proceeds of corruption during those times.
No, he swelled ranks, the taps. He swelled because a lot of people make money through working with government. They're working with government. Those are the avenues that are available. And now it is big capital which are being given those opportunities. You have Ballowing, you are striving. You have all of these chaps. They are really striving, you know. And now that's where we are. But going back to the issue of this chap that we're talking about, Zuma is not soft. He's just not loud and aggressive, but he stands his ground. Look at how he has defended the Mcebo era. Look at how he argues the Pala. I love intelligent people. I love it's stimulating. I love listening to thinkers. I don't want people who howl and make no sense, defend the indefensible and all those type of things. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him, by the way. I have no relation. The only person I knew is Mani when he took me to court and sued me. I owe him, by the way.
How much do you owe Jimmy Mani?
I think it's 50,000.
Probably legal fees as well.
He took me to court there to sue me for malice and slander. He says I insulted him on a WhatsApp group. So hey, we come a long way. I won the case, the defamation of character. So I know him through that, but he's a good guy because he said he won't pursue
that team fun. That's all he was saying, fun.
Yeah. You know, so it happened. So, but I'm looking at the qualities of this.
Got you. Yeah.
If you put Zuma and you put Julius, it's different. Zuma is coming in a Floyd-like.
I was about to say, Julius and Floyd seem like a combination that works.
No, they complement each other.
Yeah.
They complement each other. That's a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
It's like a coach and an assistant coach. The assistant who's not trying to outshine the coach. You know, like what we were seeing in Sundowns before your
when
coach
it was
took
three
over
coaches.
there. He was, you know what I mean? Up until I say, man, come and show us. And he's doing well, by the way.
That's
you can't take that away from the young man.
Yes.
But so I'm saying that the Julius Floyd combination is perfect.
It's South Africa
Floyd
ready
is not trying to be a public speaker.
No.
He's not. He knows he's not. Floyd is an academic. Is an intellect. He's a one-on-one engagement. He's a person of debate setup. A public lecture, small environment where he will argue. I can't shout like the crowd will be sleeping when you finish talking. You know what I mean? It's people who must write content. Like pump me with content.
Go tell them.
Ours is to make the public angry. Ours is to we are rabble rousers. We must keep the imagination. We must awaken people. When you like a Prama stuff, you know a Prama stuff. When we bam, that's what Julius is.
Yeah.
But
is South Africa ready for Julius' presidency? And by this I mean, are they ready to even vote for him in power?
If with Floyds, many Floyds around. Yes.
Okay.
Because I think the guy only listens to Floyd. I don't know. I might be wrong. Because we're judging them
from a distance.
Yes. He listens to Floyd. They listen to each other. They respect each other. It's a mutual.
It's a brotherhood.
Yeah. So the fear from many people, from work, from people that have engaged, is that Julius doesn't seem to listen to the people he leads. South Africans are saying borders must be closed. He's saying they will be opened. You see, that's where the fear, which no uyos come. But the reality is that we need. We really need him. We need the EFF.
There's no Julius. There's no Julius in the ANC. A Julius type.
We were there. I think I'm one of them.
Yeah.
We were suppressed. we were clobbered
Hey.
till today. I remember during FISMA's phone, it's an honest truth. And a word that came from Julius was that we must not create another Julius through this boy. Deal with him.
But now, in hindsight, creating a Julius probably not a bad thing for the ANC because we've seen what he's able to do.
Yeah, but remember now you have people who are comfortable with what is happening. Now we were coming, disturbing them in their comfortability. So they were not ready for that. They say that must not be allowed. Close that person out. Take him to jail, keep him in court, keep him busy there. Yeah, distract him and all those type of things.
The current Youth League leadership seems to be questioning a lot of the things that are done in the senior ANC. It's not necessarily working in their favor. For example, when they questioned a Minister of Public Enterprise.
You must analyze it through factions of the ANC.
Okay.
Which faction do they belong? Now you will then understand who they attack and who they don't attack within the ANC.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
not genuine. The attacks are not genuine. The attacks are funded by factions of the ANC. Because all the factions want to have control of the leagues so that they use the leagues as a weapon. Now, when they go for how do you going to pick up the factions? Is whose language are they speaking? After they speak, who comes and all those type of things. Immediately when they say this thing, Mbalula will come and defend.
Okay.
Or Mbalula will say this thing first, then they attack. Then you understand the dynamics. Why, where is it going? Because the failures is not just Pravin only. Most of the departments have failed. Why are they not saying anything on Engie? With young people dying in toilets every day. Why are they not saying anything about the failures of dealing with crime? There is a lot. The high tariffs in this country and a lot of things that are happening. They can't even touch Bom Kotongwan. Kotongwan was accused of sexual harassment at some point. There was nothing that was said and he was cleared. Now, wait until the sexual harassment is on someone that is not in their faction.
You'll hear that. Let's talk about the 9 wasted years. Are they 9 or 8? Are they 9? Are they 9 wasted
There's
years?
no wasted years that was wasted here. There were a lot of achievements that were made in the country during the Zuma era. There's a lot. Universities were built. You have Sol Plaatje that was built. You have the Mpumalanga University that was built. You had courts that were built. You had Mpumalanga Court. There's a lot of things that happened during that era. We had schools that were built at that time. We had bridges. We had a lot of things, and even us as a country in terms of our thinking, and in that time we were ahead. We were already seeing ourselves as first world.
Explain that, because some would say there's no
way
we were
already
preoccupied.
Speaking of free health, as a country at the time. We were already speaking of free health. We were speaking of free education. We were speaking of a free data must fall. Because we had now identified data as a basic need. It was now like electricity, how we had life now needed it, That's where we were already in terms of our thinking. We're already talking nuclear power. We're not talking not sun and wind, That's where we are. The country was ahead. Petrol was 9 rand. Petrol was 9 rand. Bread was 7 rand or 8 rand. Bread is now 20 rand. Bread. Now, when you say again now, the years were wasted, what do you mean that the years were wasted? Wasted how?
What do you think they mean? Because the position could be that it was seen as the most corrupt years of the ANC, or the most captured.
Is it Bloomberg, the business?
Yeah,
they released a report that corruption is worse under Cyril. I think it's Business Day or Bloomberg. They say it's worse now, and it's a fact that it is worse now. Why? Because they are no longer checks and balances. Zuma, when he coughs, the media was on him.
Yeah.
When they buy a cup, they question the price of the cup. These ones are given a free pass. They are doing as it pleases. No one is questioning the money of the COVID. What was done with these monies that are being borrowed during COVID? It's 500 billion. Where are the beds that were built? Did we even build a hospital with the money that were borrowed of COVID? So there is a lot of corruption that has been happening, and it is present. Then in Eastern Cape, they bought scooters for 100 million that couldn't even travel for even 3 days. With that money, they could have bought how many Mahindras? That would be still working in those roads.
That's
so
true.
the corruption is present now. You look at the corruption in the Kiani water there. That is shocking. In the Kiani water. You look at the corruption now of this UIF. They look at the corruption of the NSFAS. We are talking serious monies here. These people are no longer. There in Rustenburg, there is a shack that costed 30 million. You saw newspapers 2 weeks back.
I thought that's how much a shack costs.
A shack. Shack is 500 there in Soweto. Then you have a shack. And the same thing there in Northwest, there was a story where they bought 2 laptops for 20 million. What do you call that?
Then are you saying...
You see the faction, when you are in the right faction, you'll be protected. If that man of that thing there of the premier
which one?
of Eastern Cape, Oscar
Mabuyane, yes,
he wouldn't be a premier now if he was not in the right faction. There's a lot of things. He's been accused of fraud, of academic fraud, where there are people dying.
The degree issue is
then for the interdicting being investigated by the Hawks. Where have you seen that? Where have you seen someone interdicting being investigated? With all the things that are happening in the Eastern Cape, it is such things that makes our justice system to be a mockery. It is such things that makes the president, for some of us to speak the way we are speaking about him.
Are you saying
he has allowed certain things to happen because it's people who defend him, it's people who are in his corner, so they can walk away with murder and walk away with any form of corruption? There's a lot of them. Mbalula himself is accused of corruption, going to Dubai, using this and that. He is appearing in the thing of Zondo. Zizigodwa is appearing there in the thing of, he didn't deny. He says Sodi gave him money, he bought a car. There is a lot, but they're still there. Zondo says that there must be actions taken on these people. The same Zondo was there to when these people were being sworn in Parliament.
Are you saying the Zuma years were better than the Cyril years?
Yes.
Way better, or just
you can't even compare them.
Really?
Yes.
Chalk and cheese. It's black and white.
Zuma is contesting with Thabo.
Wow.
We can only compare during Thabo's time. It was better. Zuma and all those type of things. But the 6 years of Cyril, the country has not done anything. We're not moving. We're not going forward. We're becoming worse off. They are saying it's a 9 wasted years. But here's a 6 years that has made the 9 to be worse off. If there was a ball rolling down the hill, we are saying it's the 9 years. The ball is rolling down the hill. And then there's someone who's being put in
to bring it up.
Is not. They're not even halfway bringing the ball up.
But if they push the ball at least.
No. They are assisting it to go down fast. We don't have electricity, Moon, as we speak.
We didn't have electricity during.
We never had these blackouts under Zuma.
Well,
we never had.
There were
these
few,
blackouts.
but they were there.
Your cocos, they dealt with load shedding. The guy knew what he was doing. I've listened to him speak. I know nothing about Eskom, but I listened to this guy. You can hear what that, other than that chap that Cyril brought and was telling us about conveyor belts. Remember that chap who was telling us there's a conveyor belt, the one who passed away?
Yes, I know. I forgot.
Mabuza. That one with the head.
Yes,
they was telling us of a conveyor belt.
He was chairman of Eskom.
You remove people who know this thing, you put a conveyor belt.
Well, but Mabuza was there during that time as well. He was at some point he worked together with some of the previous guys.
That's our problem. Like let's go back to the EFF.
Yes,
when the EFF,
alternative,
when the EFF deploys, they scout talent.
Okay,
those chaps. You look at them now. The type of people they are bringing. They are not bringing clowns. They are not bringing empty heads.
They've just brought in
Mcebo. He's a qualified advocate.
She's been questioned as being incompetent.
By who?
You tell me.
By a system that he was fighting.
Okay.
The system reacted. But the woman is good. You can't take away that. And the experience he has. And he's bringing that legal expertise to the EFF and governance. They brought Mani there, a public speaker in government. He was a spokesperson for a long time.
of cabinet.
And assist the content of the EFF that is being taken out there. They brought who? They brought this SBA guy from Ukozi FM. These chaps have recently built a studio, a podcast studio of their own. So that guy, coming with this experience of the media and stuff, he's going straight there. They've always been targeted. They've been bringing Boy Eugene and them. They are focusing on the arts aspect of it. So they are not just bringing anything. You must watch who they bring. They are not just, no. And they are able to tell their constituents why we are bringing this person. For what good reason are we bringing this person? Because we are growing and stabilizing this organization to compete. Yeah. They just put anything just because it's a comrade. Hey, Mchana, hey, Ngena Mchana. Mbalula himself, when he became SG, he said it himself that he knew nothing about transport. He said it.
Okay.
He said, we went there, we got excited, and we surrounded ourselves with people who knew nothing. He said it himself. It's there.
When he was Minister of Transport?
No, after he left.
Okay.
When he was
SG.
actually saying he is now at the right place.
Okay.
All his life, all he knew was politics and what. But the ANC took them there. And he spoke that when they got there, they knew nothing. And they kept surrounding themselves with people of yes, and other people who knew nothing. He said it himself. So then what do you expect?
So clearly, cadre deployment has not worked in your perspective, based on what you've just said.
There's nothing wrong with cadre deployment. It is part of politics, and it needs to be defended everywhere in the world. Even the DA itself is using it. The DA can't appoint me as an MEC. I'm not one of theirs. They will appoint theirs. But it must be based on merit. You see, with putting Sputler there, they almost tried because the guy is learned. He has the education. And as an engineer and stuff, he can quickly learn. But if you were going to put the Zizigodwa there in electricity and Eskom, what do you expect? It's what we have been exposed to, that even the cadres, the comrades, must also accept that there are those who are more capable, and those who are more capable must occupy this critical position. And the ANC must find a way of taking care of its comrades other than deploying them. They must find ways of survival. They must go and farm so that they don't need to deploy it to support the movement. They must own taxes. They must feed themselves. Not that now we must deploy Uganda because now you are a regional secretary. We must find where we put you.
And I'm broke.
and we are hung.
Yeah.
You see, they must go work. They must own spaza shops as comrades, so that they will have, because if we put you there, it means you report to us. The power is in you, knowing we put you there, not that I must myself be there. They must accept and understand the power of leading from behind and producing leaders. Your Sisulus, they produce leaders. They didn't care that they were never presidents of the ANC. They never did this and that. But they prided themselves in the young people they groomed, who then took over and led with distinction. And those young people always paid their allegiance to these old people who produced them. They always went to consult.
Is Cyril Ramaphosa a businessman?
No.
He's not.
He's not.
Why do you say that? He's as far as we know, he ran a business successfully before he got back to Shanduka.
No. Those are shares. These people are being products. They are products of white monopoly capital. They are products of the system. The system has produced them. The system has been producing them and molding them for a purpose. As this, like now. They have made this. He's made by this white monopoly capital. He owes them. These people who've been giving him shares in Lonmin, in Ukaika, in what. You hear, McDonald's. It's a US thing.
We know that he owns it. Owns the South African.
The only black person to own a McDonald's, to own it. Not to even say you run a franchise.
He owns the rights to the brand in the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Why him?
But isn't that business?
Why him? Why?
Wait a minute for a second. I'm lying, I know. He probably got money.
From where?
And then bought shares bought the rights. That's business. That's what that's what happens in business.
I'm saying he remains the only person who owns it. They could have owned a franchise like everyone else.
But then why?
Now, when you are now owning a franchise, you are now coming to him.
Yeah, but why do you want to box him in a smaller box, not a bigger box?
Because we don't want to run away from reality that is being produced. He's made by these people. They have a way of making their own. They have to, amongst us, they have to choose 2 blacks, 3, 4 blacks, your Tokyos, your Cyril, your Motsepes, so that they can say, yeah, but are rich people. We have, rich blacks, but blacks, we have them on the table. So that they can control the anger of the black people. So that when we talk of transformation, they say, no, it's there. They produce, they make these people. The system realized that we can't keep fighting these people, oppressing them. Let's make one of them to look like us, to think like us, to be one of us, so that we can control him with a remote control, so that he can push our interest. And so I feel that, because I have a problem with our black rich people, because they are there now, who have the money, who are not building anything. We're not building any institutions. We haven't built anything. They don't own Lonmin. It's not theirs. They are owning 1%, 0.5%. Yes, you will be rich. So we are not owning these establishments and these institutions. They have failed to build our own things that we can pride ourselves as black people. To say, here's our own. You see, when this guy, what is this actor from the US, Perry?
Tyler Perry.
Is it him?
Tyler Perry. Yes.
Or is Mike Jordan?
No, it's Tyler Perry.
It's him. The one who built a huge, massive stood. He's building. That's building our own.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Where are our own institutions? Because we perpetually want to fit and to be accepted in institutions that the boers built for themselves and for their children. When these boys built Eskom, they were building it for themselves. They took their children to Germany to study this thing. When they came back, they put them there. When they decided that, no, we need something, refineries, they took their children to Russia or Germany or England to start. They then built Sasol. They then realized, hey, we need something like this. They took their children, and now we need insurance. They took their children to study overseas. They built Old Mutual. So, where are our own institutions? When are the black billionaires going to build institutions? Now, you look at the big law firms, the big ones, the top 5 in the country.
Who are the top 5?
Werksman,
Bowman Gilfillan,
ENS.
Okay.
ENS.
Who else is?
Wepa Wanzel.
Yes. There's a Hogan something.
Yes. And I named Bowman's, right? You know, what Chief is Bowman's and Chief Len. And
yes.
So, and you have Adams and Adams.
Yeah, of course.
Where are the black ones?
Well.
Where?
Well, they're building up. They're on the up and up. They're coming.
No, because like, remember we said we need to deal with the mind. The setup, the upbringing of us as black people, we are meant to compete against each other. You know, like when white people are uniting and collaborating in making money together. If you look at Werksman, how they came about, probably it was a group of lawyers that decided to form this, shut down this Molanyana thing
and bring one
come
thing together.
Yes.
We've done that with Ngasani, Ubabu Sizwe Ngasani, the accounting firm. Yes.
He's trying.
We've done that. And I'm sure there are many others.
There will be people who say, whiteness has taken off.
No.
Remember the danger that we are having also. It's not like our people don't have the idea of starting something. We are hungry.
Yeah.
Our people are hungry. We are impatient for success, for the money. Now you start something like maybe let's say here, what we are doing now here, like it's going up. You know, they buy you out. They come and buy you out. ENCA can come and buy you out. And our people have been selling to the big guys like Bidvest. Bidvest have been buying cleaners, security.
No, yeah, they buy
any innovation.
Oh, that's a president's business as well. He was invested very heavily in Bidvest.
They gave him a stake. That's why they are all out attacking him now. I'm telling you. The Jewish community is angry with him.
Yeah.
And they are unapologetic in attacking him. The rabbis, they are all out because they feel that they made him. In your Bidvest, the Oppenheimers have been giving him stakes in the mines and everywhere. And they were part of the biggest funders of his campaign against Nkosaza. Now they feel that he should be at least protecting their interest, which he's not. They are coming all out for him. So that's why I'm saying the chap is not a business person. He's been made by big capital.
Let me try.
Capital has interest. When they start funding me, for instance, they would have known this one must be president in 2030.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
plan.
Yeah. When you think they love me. They're like, why are you out of all this? For what in return? You owe them. Sometimes we cry that we are neglected and we are poor and stuff like that. It's sad that we don't have cars, we don't have this and that, and we know that these old people, they can do it. But it's also a blessing in disguise because I still own my voice. I can still speak. I can still say whatever I want to say. I can say it as I see it.
Do you think Julius can be bought?
I think everyone has a price. I think everyone has a price.
Yeah. Some are higher than others.
Some are higher than others.
Yeah.
Julius is now expensive. You know, when you and his eyes are now close. He's not a small boy anymore. He can see the power.
Yeah.
It's close.
And
He can see, he's smelling it.
the reason I
So
asked that question.
you can't buy him $1 billion. You can already see, I'm going for the Jagu. Now you can buy him by saying, we'll make you president.
The reason I asked that question that way is ownership of your own voice. It's a point you made. That sometimes poverty, as horrible as it is, it allows you the opportunity to continue owning your own voice.
Yeah.
And if it's funded well,
You stop speaking about the things that matter.
so that's why I ask if someone like Julius, whose voice is very
Julius,
strong and loud.
But Julius, you can still eat your money and still insult you.
You can have your bread and still tell you
that man can go and do Stellenbosch there, sit there, they unleash.
They give him money.
He gets triggered. He gets triggered.
Yeah.
I think he's a spiritual being. I think Julius is a spiritual being. He's spiritually possessed.
Yeah.
He can agree to not saying certain things. He gets triggered. Once he starts speaking,
He can't stop himself.
he can't stop himself. He says it.
Yeah.
You know, brutal as it is, and it annoys a lot, and it scares others. Remember how he even speak about his own friends, Balula, he shouts them when they go out and all those type of things. It's who he is. That's why I want to say he's a spiritual being. He's possessed. If you can ask him, if he can say the things that he has said in the same interview, say, can you repeat? He won't say it again. He's forgotten. He's moved. The mind is moved. He's moving. You know, I'm saying this because remember I said, I sometimes see myself in him. That's why I have this thing when he's being attacked. I'm always one of those people who's always first to defend the EFF and all of those, because I feel like I see myself in him.
Yeah.
Most of the time, except on the opening of borders.
Don't you find
I agree with him.
On most things?
Everything. Everything.
Except the borders.
I know. I still need to be convinced.
Don't you sometimes find yourself that you are on both sides of both the ANC and the EFF?
From where I stand now, I feel like my character, the person that I am, I don't belong in party politics.
Okay.
I am a person of movements.
You're an activist.
I'm an activist. Because I want to be able to attack Julius. I want to be able to attack Cyril. I want to be able to attack the EFF and the ANC. So party politics then limits you. Now, we've been limited for a very long time as young people, especially some of us. But I've always been that one that always just breaks loose and, you know, we're like, and what's wrong with this one? You know, most of the time we'll be told that he's anti-ANC. I mean, there's nothing ANC in this guy. There's a lot of those utterances. There were those who were saying he's PAC. And, you know, at this EFF, they are refusing to understand you for you. That you are just this type of an animal. Now, it's like someone saying, can you describe yourself? I can't. I don't know myself. Because different people experience me differently. It depends on where you meet me. If you meet me at corporate level, I'm not talking politics. I'm a different person. Yes, sir. How are you? Thank you. Up until I get triggered in those boardrooms. I explode.
The politician comes out.
Yeah, like the blackness.
Okay.
But you will always be brought back to say, we are in business of making money. We're not government. I've been told that. Work. It's what we deal with in corporate.
Yeah.
It's tough. But I have to adjust. And my strength is in being able to adapt. When I'm home in KZN, when I'm there in KZN, because I'm from the royal family.
Well, I want us to get to that, but not yet. We'll get there in a minute.
So, but like when I'm there, I I change. I fully subscribe.
To
There's no law, politics. I am now here ngibuto. I'm a subject.
Yes.
That's who I am.
You're a child of the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do as it pleases. Ngiyakapa.
I see.
I adapt. When I'm there in the stadium to watch Orlando Pirates, as a big fan of the number one fan
I saw that. You even have a cap on your dashboard.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone that's doing that.
Yeah.
I'm a Downs fan, but I don't have a cap on my
I
dashboard.
even have a key
Wow,
holder.
look at that.
Yeah, even Pagani. Now, when I'm there, I stop being legal mind, politician, this elite or vets. What? I'm a fan. I'm shouting. I'm shouting. Mahop, I'm insulting him. Mahop, shoot, man.
Yeah.
That's who I am. If you see me in the stadium, you're like, hey, man, with this guy. I'm telling you.
Is he the same guy?
Is it the same guy? I think even the big guys of the team, when they see you, like, hey, this guy is something. Because I'm shouting, defend. I'm shouting at Koki there.
Yes.
There are times when I'm shy. I'm shy, I'm shooting. I celebrate. So that's who I am.
Yeah.
To my children, I'm a father. But I'm raising them in a different way.
Yeah.
I listen. I challenge them. I still instill discipline because I believe in dictatorship. My daughter, because she's now old, we entered into a deal that when she wants something, she must send me an email.
And propose.
Yeah, and request. Daddy, I'm asking for this and motivate.
Yeah.
That's our agreement. So you see, now, Sissy,
oh, poor girl.
Anything you need, you must send me an email.
How has she done so far?
No, she's winning.
Let's go to the soft.
Yeah, she's winning. But because I think she's winning because because of the environment, because she's in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, she's studying there. She stays in Japan. Like her mind. To an extent that the other time her mom was saying, hey, like the kid, like she doesn't listen. Like she feels like
everyone is
like
below.
she's ahead.
Yes.
Then I told her, I said, Oli, you need to improve yourself to be at this kid's level.
Yeah.
You are going to start fighting. Because the kids started saying, I want to come back and stay with you. I said, what are the issues? He says, my mom doesn't understand me. So the issue is that she's wired differently.
Yeah.
She's growing up there. This one, when there's an elder, after varsity year, then taking the child, there's a child. This child is now growing up wired, thinking ahead. Because remember there, she's in class at 7 a.m. To be out at 6 p.m.
What?
90% or 95% of the time she spends at school. They're at school on Saturday, they're at school on Sunday. They don't subscribe to Christmas. They don't close in December. They're in class. They have their own calendar that is not of the world. They have their own religion. I don't know what it's called, whether it's Buddha or
what. I want us to stop this episode here.
Okay.
I'm hanging out with Mcebo Dlamini, and it's a fascinating perspective on a lot of things. But I want us to stop this one here. So there's part 2.
King David Studio Podcast.